welcome back to House of R. I'm Joanna Robinson. Joining me, as always, almost always, is Mallory Rubin. But we are tripling the R's on the podcast today because we've got Rob Mahoney here.
Unbelievable.
An honor to be here.
Delighted.
I didn't want to bring it up, but I saw people were saying online, not enough R's.
Yeah.
Just needed a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to provide
triple R.
upon your invitation.
Oh my gosh. Thanks so much for being here.
Thrilled.
If you're watching this on video, we are together in studio.
Yeah.
Our pal John Richter has created some of the best art that has ever graced a House of R podcast.
Frankly astonishing.
It really is beautiful.
It's really, really beautiful. In honor of Rob being here, we got some very special art. So you might want to switch over to YouTube or the Spotify app to watch this on video.
Well, I mean, for the audio listeners, would you like to describe what it is?
I think you should.
I think you have to, and I think you need to do it with accompanying sound effects.
I mean, the sound effects are very important. I don't know if the space is quite conducive to the full arm cocking
Rob,
walker
how big
motion.
Are you trying to pretend your muscles are?
No, not that.
He's got wingspan.
I don't want to punch either you or my crucial laptop with all of the information about what we're
sure.
podcasting about. But you got to get your straight, right?
Okay,
Like you got to get the sound effects in order. Very important if you're going to cock your arms before you brawl in a bathroom.
Okay, so we're here to talk about Mission Impossible.
We sure are.
Rob just made an allusion to one of the missions impossible, which is Fallout. And if you're not watching, the art of Rob behind us is Henry Cavill-esque mustache, arms being reloaded.
Aspirational on the stash front.
And we were told you would reload your arms for us on this podcast.
I think we might have to hit a point in the draft where it makes sense. And again, I'm going to have to try not to punch anybody or anything as doing it.
Are you saying that if you don't get to draft Henry Cavill, you won't reload your arms for us?
No comment.
Great. Cool. All right. So we're doing a little mini Mission Impossible draft. We were just mere days after a gargantuan big picture 2000 movie draft.
Yeah.
And this is just like a little draftito. Like just a little little thing that we're doing here today.
That's right. This is not the biplane stunt of drafts.
Sure. What stunt is it?
I'm not going to reveal anything
Great.
else.
Let's talk about it. Okay. Just a peek behind the curtain, something that Mallory decided to do under her own steam, no one asked her to do this, was rewatch all of the Mission Impossible movies.
Just for the sheer pleasure of it.
Yeah. And since she had all that information rattling around in her head, we were like, why not do a Mission Impossible draft? I know you've already forgotten.
That was
3
weeks ago.
Yeah.
As you know, at this point in my life, if we're within or outside of like 3 hours, it's a wrap. And I think that one of the relationships that I have to the Mission Impossible franchise, a franchise that I adore, is that when I'm watching each movie, it all feels very clear to me. And then as soon as I'm not watching it,
you're like, what were they talking
about?
Yeah,
it mushes. That's just great franchise filmmaking as far as I'm concerned.
That's right.
Franchise
spin it that way.
Yeah, it's really a great
united
novel
experience.
Text, right? Like it is one contained work of lore and stunt.
That's right.
And human achievement. And who's to say if it happens in chapter 2 or chapter 5?
And
Does it really
evolving
matter?
Hair.
For our purposes today, it will matter a little bit.
Maybe
Correct,
so.
Yeah.
Which movie these things came from. So what we are doing today, and before I get into the specifics, let's just do some quick programming reminders. Next week, at some point next week, Mallory and I are doing one of our favorite traditions, which is this summer hype meter.
I love a hype meter.
Love a hype meter. This is when we really get our ducks in a row about what's coming up.
Yes.
What we're excited about.
Yes.
What the big obvious things are.
Yes.
Know what your number one is. And what some of the like nichier, less obvious things are. It's very exciting. Is there anything?
can't wait.
What's at the top of your summer hype list, Rob Mahoney?
I'm actually genuinely very excited for Fantastic Four. I'm excited to be wooed, to be honest with you. Not like a character set that I have a huge relationship to.
Right.
And so I'm looking forward to like, can I get an Iron Man, Captain America type experience out of this? Where it's like, can you make me care about these people I don't care about? Really?
Right. Before we draft today, is there anything you'd like to say about Vanessa Kirby specifically that might tip anything about your board?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Great question.
But I'm a human being. I
So
think
I
you
think
can
we're
probably
aligned.
I think you can probably assume.
I'm flesh and blood. All right. So that's what we're doing. Over on the Ringerverse, the Midnight Boys, pew pew, will be doing a reaction to Ballerina, the new sort of film in the John Wick universe, which I have heard actually incredible things about. So that's very exciting. Can't wait to check that out. So that is what is happening on the Ringerverse.
Love it.
How can folks keep track of that medium amount of content, I will say,
Yeah.
compared to like some of our previous weeks where we were all doing like double, triple pods?
Here's what I'd recommend. Let's keep it simple. Follow the pods.
Sure.
Follow
Makes
House
sense.
of R. follow the Ringerverse. You want to tease any NBA Finals group chat action while we're
follow
here?
the Ringer NBA show.
Here we go.
If you are so inclined.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get into some stuff on there. Maybe we'll talk Fantastic Four. I don't know. Who's
It's
to say?
entirely possible.
Yeah.
Justin Verrier, famously a huge MCU fan.
And Waz as well. Look, there's been a lot of Superman cross promo in the NBA playoffs.
Yeah, that's true.
Not very successful.
Yeah.
Involving players who have since been eliminated.
Yeah.
It didn't go well.
It happens.
Mallory,
you got to make your bets and then.
Mallory, if you had to guess, when quizzed by Rob and other Ringer employees yesterday about who was playing in the NBA Finals, how many teams do you think I got correct?
0.
I got one right.
She did get one.
Oklahoma City?
Yeah. Now, was she primed the day before by a previous conversation?
Maybe, but I remember.
You did.
Yeah.
It's
Good
important.
for you. Okay. Good for you.
Anyway.
People can follow along by following the pods on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, and also follow on YouTube, the Ringerverse YouTube channel. You can watch full video episodes of House of R and Midnight Boys Pew Pew on the Ringerverse YouTube channel and on Spotify. Also, follow the Ringerverse on the social media platform of your choosing, whatever that might be these days. And of course, send us your emails. The inbox is always open. If you have things that you're excited for this summer, get your emails to us before the hype draft, hobbitsanddragons@gmail.com.
Yeah, and if you haven't had a chance to listen to our Tony Gilroy interview, which was amazing, thank you, Tony. We ran some listener thoughts and premises past Tony, so you never know what an email to hobbitsanddragons@gmail.com. You never know where it might reach.
It's true.
All right. Spoiler warning.
Yeah.
All of Mission Impossible.
Okay.
Yes.
So the newest one included. Final Reckoning, we are good to spoil.
I think
I
we're
think
a couple weeks out. I think Final Reckoning is okay. Though I'm happy to tip my hand on this. Won't be very relevant to what I have to talk about today.
We'll see.
Okay. Also, the Mission Impossible TV show, if you choose to reference it, that is allowed as well.
Okay.
Is there a series of novels? Is there any other media to consume in the Mission Impossible series?
Certainly a robust fan fiction universe.
There was a video. I feel like I played a Nintendo 64 Mission Impossible game. I remember just playing the mask level over and over and over.
That sounds fun.
It was incredibly fun. Otherwise, very difficult game for someone like me who just wanted to shoot stuff. Turns out the speed of the first Mission Impossible, not conducive to a 9-year-old.
Right.
No, that's just adult dramatic interpersonal relationships.
Yeah.
Brian De Palma, what a treat.
What a joy. All right. So here are the categories we're drafting today. We've got pick your Ethan Hunt. There's 2 reasons why this category exists. You're like, hey, isn't that the same character played by the same actor in all of those movies? Number 1, Arjuna, Ramgopal, our wonderful producer, and Mallory were both like, we should do Ethan Hunt hair. And I drew a line and said, let's just call it pick your Ethan Hunt. It's basically a hair category, though. Though Rob made the point, you tried to make the point the other day that he's basically a different character.
Oh, yeah.
In every movie.
I mean, I think there's kind of sections of the series in
Eras.
which he evolves, eras for sure. But for example, the
Mm-hmm.
version of Ethan that we see in The Final Reckoning is unrecognizable to me based on any of the other movies. The self-seriousness, the complete lack of interpersonal chemistry with basically anyone else in the story. Very, very strange version of Ethan that I will not be selecting. Happy to tip my hand on that. But otherwise, I think there's chunks of Ethan. There's the great stages of Ethan Hunt.
Okay, so when you pick your Ethan, you will have to talk about his hair, obviously, and also, I guess, where he is psychologically and emotionally.
Probably romantically. Yeah,
Sure.
exactly. Where he is romantically and how much trauma, either personal or on behalf of the world,
or physical.
Is he carrying more physical trauma?
Spoiler alert, it's a lot.
Yeah, sure is.
And then we've got a double category: 2 teammates. Where you're building your own IMF team.
Yeah.
So it's going to be Ethan and 2 teammates, and that's going to be your little skeleton crew for this particular operation.
I pushed hard for sex symbol,
love interest,
and Joe was like, "Get with the fucking times. Let's just call it team." If you want to do that inside of one of the team member picks,
under
you can.
the teammate umbrella.
Yeah.
They're under the teammate
They're
umbrella.
on the team.
Yeah.
Sometimes they go in and out.
Well, that's up to you how you construct your team.
Team member or
if you want to put the
villain.
entity on your team, I support
Talk
you.
about a sex symbol.
Teammate should be someone who has been on an IMF team before, but we're willing to bend and stretch and break
you
for
can
that.
make a case for for something else. there.
Similarly, the next category can mutate a bit because that is the villain category.
Yeah.
And there are characters who go back and forth inside of this franchise, whether they're on the team or I've got some people in both columns so
yes.
as candidates. So there's that. Then we have the MacGuffin.
Mhm.
Do you want me to explain what a MacGuffin
Do
is?
it. Go for it. Yeah.
I got to teach my nephew what a MacGuffin was the other day. And
How did he
also
take the
what
news?
IMAX was. I think he just blinked at me owlishly and was like, interesting, I've seen 5 films ever in my life. Okay, so there's 2 definitions of MacGuffin. But basically, a MacGuffin is a thing that we are chasing inside of a story. And in some interpretations of, there's basically the Spielberg version and the Hitchcock version. And in some version, the MacGuffin means nothing. You don't need to know what it does. It's plans. It's, it's microfiche. It's whatever. It's the Maltese Falcon. It's like whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it does. You just need to find it.
Right.
And then in the Spielberg version, it's like the Ark of the Covenant. And we know why we are chasing it, the Holy Grail, etc. It is very crucial to the plot. I would say Mission Impossible gives us both flavors of MacGuffin inside of this franchise.
For
but
sure.
you can pick either. But it is the thing that we are going after. And once we start talking about it, you will know. If you're even confused now, you will know exactly what we're talking about.
The animating device for the plot of a given movie.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, what is Ethan chasing?
Yeah. What do we need? What do we want? What does the villain want?
Yes.
Are we at cross purposes, etc.?
Yeah.
Device/gadget. Mission Impossible is a very tech-friendly franchise. There's a lot of improbable tech on display here.
But also some very probable tech. I think they actually do a pretty good balance of both of like, this could never exist. And also like, if we just made this select tiny advancement in X technology, I could see this being a plausible thing. I like how they walk that line.
I think this is the category that maybe when you're prepping for this very draft, you think about a little bit differently than if we have done this draft earlier in the franchise. Because some of these things like actually do or could exist. That doesn't mean it wouldn't be the thing you pick. But maybe that reveals something about what we value or are looking for in our device or gadget.
Well, I value artificial intelligence and robot delivery workers and the advancement of all technology of all kinds.
Yeah, I know that about you, Rob. It's the worst thing about our friendship. Okay. Last but not
That's
least.
what I'm about. I don't know what to tell you.
Last but not least.
Yeah.
And this is another core component of Mission Impossible, which is the stunt.
Whew, this is a robust field.
How do you want to define stunt?
Let's talk about
This
it.
is something we had a question about.
My fundamental question, is a fight scene inherently a stunt?
I had an 8-hour conversation with my husband about this at home because I think there could have been a case to have a whole separate category just for fights.
Yeah.
But because we don't, I would posit that while they certainly could and maybe should be distinct, since they're not, you should be allowed to pick a fight as your stunt if you want. It's up to you, right, to make the case.
I
and then that's
mostly
a part of your
disagree,
movie.
but how about we allow the one fight we're all thinking about?
Well, I think I'm thinking of one fight, and I'm also thinking of one kind of more elaborate set piece that is action oriented, but is not a guy hanging off a biplane. It's like, I think there is the level of like, this is Tom Cruise doing ridiculous shit, or in maybe the earlier installments, his stunt double before he lost his goddamn mind. And then there's like, okay, there's this big elaborate espionage action oriented sequence that is.
I think that's a stunt for sure.
You think that's a stunt?
I
Okay.
might push back on, like, it depends how long the sequence is. 'Cause, like,
2.5 hours.
Some of those sequences are like a quarter of the movie, and I'm like,
This
if
is
you're
fair.
like everything that happens in this location.
Oh,
I'm like,
you're
I don't
thinking
know.
of stunt as a very specific one, like quick moment?
No,
Okay.
they're like set pieces.
Yeah.
But like sometimes those set pieces involve like 4 different things inside of one set piece.
Yes.
Do you know what I
Totally.
mean?
But I'm thinking more about it that way, honestly. The real like action stunner that we think of as this iconic Mission Impossible thing, in part because of the caliber of and mania, frankly, of the stunt work involved inside of
The
it.
good news is we're not going very deep. We're only making 3 selections.
We
well,
can also
6
rename it
team.
in real time as stunt/set piece.
But
That's true.
I just don't think
If we
there are
want.
so many sort of like
We, like the
landmark
IMF, make the
stunts
rules.
in this franchise that I can't believe we're going to get so far deep that we're going to be like, is that a stunt? Do you know?
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Let's go through it, and maybe in the honorable mentions we can litigate some of that stuff too.
I have so many honorable mentions. Okay. So those are our categories.
They are.
We will be going in order, randomly generated by our producer, Carlos Chiriboga. Carlos, are you on the line?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we can hear you.
Awesome. All right, so I'm just going to get right into it. Our first pick is going to be from Mallory Rubin.
Typical.
Our second pick is coming from Rob.
Okay.
Whoa!
This is the
And our
same.
third pick is Joanna.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the entity is real. That's what just happened because as we learned from these films, there's a plan.
I tried to randomly generate earlier and came up with the same order, and they all cried foul and said that I had.
Listen, did
you
we
know.
damage 3.5 years of carefully built trust with each other by telling Joanna that she could not set the draft order that Carlos then set in identical fashion anyway? I think that we might not agree on what the stunt is, but we can agree that happened.
I
We
don't
can't
regret
agree
it at
that
all.
that happened.
I would do it all over again.
Really? Okay.
Because you are but a human. Carlos put on the entity interfacing helmet and
Right.
saw,
Yeah, he went
saw
into
the
the coffin.
mathematical truth
Yeah.
of
the
the
entity
universe.
coffin.
Yeah.
Will you be selecting that as your device / gadget?
Honestly, a truly hilarious device. I cannot believe it's in that movie.
Wild stuff.
What are we doing?
At the end of this, I haven't prepped you for this, but at the end of this,
Mhm.
I vaguely know our rankings of the movies, but I thought maybe at the end we might want to do like a quick rapid fire, like what's
Yeah.
our current
Sure.
Mission Impossible ranking.
Provided
Sounds
we can
great.
remember what's in what, then yes, I will agree to participate.
But I want to we all know actually because we talked about this recently, but just in case you forgot, I thought we should not refresh ourselves before we do this draft. So Mallory Rubin,
Yeah.
going first in any category, and I think I know exactly what you're going to do. Would you like to make your first draft selection?
Okay. Tell me honestly after I do this if you guys agree or disagree with this kind of blanket insight, observation on approach. My feeling personally when prepping for this was, first of all, vibes only. This is my new, trying to, in my old age, spent a lot of time before the pod today talking about how my heart was racing just in general. I'm trying to calm down a little bit.
Okay.
I've been a little
how's
more
that
chill in
going?
recent drafts.
Yeah.
Having fun.
That's how you would describe the 2000s draft or the 2000 draft yesterday?
I would refer you to just crunch some tape from the past. And
Yeah.
then, yes,
She
absolutely.
didn't direct any of it out at
Exactly,
us.
exactly,
Yeah, fair.
And so I am like coming to this mostly just excited to be here with my pals. I thought that Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning was a quite confounding and perplexing film to me.
Truly.
Some things inside of it that I liked a lot, but mostly just a lot of thinking face emoji stuff for me in the Cineplex. However, what a wonderful opportunity to just like look back at the franchise as a whole, a franchise that all three of us love and have had
Yes.
so much fun with over the years. So when I was thinking about these categories and looking at it, in part because it's only three of us today, in part because the franchise, even when it's bad, it's like donuts or pizza to me. It's still fucking delicious and I love it and I want as much of it as I can get. I'm like, there's so many ways I could go here.
You're saying
I'm fine.
You love a bad donut or a bad piece of pizza?
I would prefer a great one, but it's still delicious if
Yeah.
I have a bad
I'm also
donut.
not sure there is a bad donut.
This is what I mean.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure there's a bad Mission Impossible movie. Exactly. But
Okay.
so like any other pick in the draft today, I could go 100 different ways. I do think there's only one number one pick though.
Okay.
Personally. I'm curious if you guys agree. I think, and this is not a category I would have targeted high probably if I didn't have this pick.
Yep.
But because I have it,
Yeah.
I have to go device / gadget.
Oh.
And I have to take the mask maker.
Yeah.
It's the number one.
It's right because
For the but I have to
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
I don't think this would be my number one overall
It's not
pick.
my number one pick, but it is.
But the thing is, I
clear
could-
number one.
I
gadget.
couldn't
Yes.
risk that one of you took it because then I don't have the secret sauce of a Mission Impossible movie in my Mission Impossible
It's
movie.
totally fair.
We're building the best Mission Impossible movie. This is like the cornerstone. I have a number of different ways I could go with an Ethan. If I don't have the mask maker, I can't do the Davian swap in the Vatican.
Mm.
You know? How will I make my film? And so that is what I will be selecting. Number one, of course, the latex mask.
I mean, except no
maker. And I also,
substitutes.
I get so many versions of it because I get it. It's in every film.
Yeah, do we
So
want
I'm not
to nail
locked
that
into
down?
a point in time.
Do you
Sure.
get all the mask makers? Do you have to
Yes.
pick a
Yes.
specific movie mask maker?
You get all the.
I get
all
all
the
of
mask
them.
makers.
I get all.
You get all the
of
malfunctioning
them.
ones.
That's
That's
right.
a great
Exactly.
deal. That's part of the fun.
I get them all.
Here's my question because
Yes.
I actually have it listed separately on here. Do you get the voice changer strip?
Oh yeah, I think that's
I
part
think
of the
I
it's
same
don't
part
know
of it.
because it
I
doesn't
think
show
it's
up until
part
the
of it.
second one.
I know, but I still think it's
Ah.
part of the experience.
Yeah.
You
of
don't
how
you
they're
don't get it
masking
until the
identity.
second movie, so it's not de facto with the mask situation.
I'm happy to make my selection starting from the second film on, but yeah, I think that comes with.
I think
with
it's a
what I get.
package deal.
Yeah, I think so.
I disagree, but okay, well, let's not fight so early. Okay,
You're welcome to select the voice masker if you want.
Oh, thanks so much.
I'll
You'll loan it out to me. Thanks ever so much.
Oh, I'm thrilled to have the mask maker. How fun.
I completely agree with you. Like, it's hard to imagine a Mission Impossible movie without one.
Yeah.
That said, having recently rewatched Mission Impossible 2, it is possible to do too many masks
no question.
in a movie.
No question.
They go way too far.
It's also
into.
possible, if we're staying with that film, to have a line in the movie that you don't need to have in a movie. You know, you could say, well, that's what you call getting your gun off. A lot of things happen in that movie that shouldn't. And yet,
There
I
are a
love
lot of
it.
things.
I love it.
Genuinely better than I remembered.
It's fun.
I had a nice experience.
You had a nice
rewatching-
experience
I had
with
a
Mission
nice
Impossible
experience.
2?
Just as a throw it on, like, yes.
Did that feel like a good use of Tindaway Newton to you inside of a given property?
Is there a bad use?
I don't know of a bad use.
Is there a bad use?
I'm just saying, I don't feel like we are exploring our full potential of that particular person.
I'm just saying, like, you know, there's sometimes where you learn something about a filmmaker based on, like, what appears in their movie and kind of what they gravitate towards. Sinners is a great example. It's like, I'm learning some stuff about Ryan Coogler as a person by watching this movie. I feel like I learned a lot about John Woo watching MI2, in particular, how interested he is in watching Tandy Newton straddle people. Like, that's just a passion point, clearly.
And I say who among us, you know?
I'm just saying we can diversify.
Well, doves, motorcycles, and Tandy Newton straddling people. Like, it's not a bad
The
suite
dove,
of
you know
stuff.
what gets me every fucking time? The dove.
The dove is good. Especially because there's a bait and switch where it's like, first it's just like some pigeons.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
he's not going to do it. He's
Right,
just
yeah.
going to cop out with the pigeons.
Yeah.
But then come the doves. It's
Yeah.
really a
He's
stroke
like,
of
the
genius.
people expect doves from me and I will deliver. Rob Mahoney, what is your number one pick?
I think I'm going to go team member first,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
going to go Ilsa.
Yeah, of course.
Off
I mean,
the
this
top.
was the
This is-
downside
that
of
was
my
my first pick,
It's just
yeah.
like, you're not getting Ilsa, basically.
So do I need to pick Ilsa from a particular movie, or I
Nope.
get all
You
Ilsa
get all
across
Ilsa.
the
All
stairs?
Ilsa.
Great.
No one else can pick Ilsa now.
Wonderful.
I'm jealous.
For me, I'm a huge sucker for like a cat and the bat type dynamic. And so the
Yeah,
Ethan
sure.
Ilsa stuff, especially in Rogue Nation, I would say,
Yeah.
is so great. Anytime you can't quite tell someone's motives, it's just like supercharged in terms of their chemistry together. Also love all of the former agents in this. And so it's like, if you're a former MI6, if you're
Yep.
former IMF, you know all the tricks of the trade, but you're leveraged by a terrorist organization. Now we're fucking talking.
Listen, it's not a pick I made. It's a pick a competitor made, but I don't mind saying it's the single most important performance in the history of film.
Thank you.
It's just, it is astonishing. It is powerful. It is important.
Quite.
In general, I like some variety in life, but I think if I had to choose just one thing to watch forever until I died, I'd at least consider watching Ilsa take people down to the ground with just the power of
The
her
thighs.
thighs.
Yeah. The thighs are
it would
quite
be in the
powerful.
consideration set.
in the yellow gown. In the like chartreuse gown from the Vienna opera
The opera sequence is
Yeah.
extraordinary.
Yeah.
Man.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I also think you can tell how good all the Ilsa stuff is by the fact that once they introduce Grace in the later movies, they're like chasing the Ilsa thing so hard. Like even
I
some of the
was
set
su-
pieces are
yeah.
like the interrogation sequence
Yeah.
where Ethan has to kind of shimmy his way up the column to get free. They almost like carbon copy it in a lot of ways with Grace later.
I'm an unpopular opinion that I had when Dead Reckoning came out is that I thought that movie was bad and I did not like it. And mainly because they killed off Ilsa Faust, which was
It's a good scene.
Rebecca Ferguson's preference.
Right.
Because she was like, you made me sit around for years and years and years and I can't do anything else. And she was like, in a recent interview, she's like, I made 2 Dune movies
Yeah.
in the time it would have taken to make
Yeah.
one Mission Impossible movie. And she said they weren't really going to use me the way that they
Right.
had in the past. And so I just didn't
And this
really
is
wanna do that.
actually while clearly supporting Rob's pick, thinking it's a great one, and being jealous that neither of us
Yeah.
got to make it. That's an area where we can take him down a peg here, because wasn't our shared wife Rebecca Ferguson also like, Ilsa doesn't really want to be on a team. Stop putting me on a team.
I think the best
Why
teams.
are you trying to take an independent, strong woman
Yeah.
and lock her into a
Whoa,
man-led
whoa.
team dynamic, Rob?
Who's locking anyone into anything?
You just like how many minutes has it been since you were like
God.
vibes only,
Vibes
chill? I will not be
I'm
attacking
good.
people.
I'm good. You know what? Like whoever finishes third in this draft, probably me.
Yeah.
Is going to be in the position of being the Mission Impossible 2 of the draft results, the worst one. And guess what? As it's established
still a
canon.
dove. There's still a dove.
Established canon aside in
good.
this very episode that's still a fucking banger.
Still good.
There's
Yeah.
still a dove.
Ilsa, man, I love Ilsa.
I mean, one last note on Ilsa. Just ridiculous that she's barely acknowledged at all in Final Reckoning. Like she dies and it's like, they almost forgot she existed.
Here's the mistake they made when they because like when Michelle Monaghan shows
Shameful.
up inside of the
Truly.
franchise as his like wife,
Yeah.
and then leaves, you're kind of like, okay, Michelle Monaghan's gone, and she bumps around in some of the other movies, but it's just sort of like, okay. But they establish Ilsa and establish her in Rogue One, and then underline it in Fallout is like, this is Ethan's soulmate. She matters. And then they're like, LOL, we found another brunette. Grace is here.
Turns out there are more.
She's about the same. It's fine. Don't worry about
tough.
it. Okay.
So you'll be selecting Grace?
Yeah, everyone's favorite, Grace. I love Haley Atwell.
I might pick Grace
Gets a bad rap.
I love
honestly.
Haley Atwell. It's not
fun
her fault.
character.
She's not Rebecca Ferguson. Okay.
Exactly. There's only one Ferguson.
Like,
Listen,
this is
you care a lot
difficult.
about hair, and you have one chance to take the Ethan hair you want. Just saying.
I'm not the one who introduced the Ethan hair category. Don't make me burn my pick on which Ethan it is.
I know, but in part because I care about you and I know how passionate you are about hair. I wanted you to have a chance to engage with Ethan's hair.
I'm taking.
Chill Mallory is still Machiavellian as hell. Like it's really a sight to behold.
The thing is, I know what you guys do and don't care about, and so I think the thing that I care most about, you don't care about. So it means I can probably save it for later.
It's quite
Well,
presumptuous.
Here's what I will say. Not a mind game, sincere. I do not think that the affection for and devotion to specific elements of the Mission Impossible films maps on that closely to the film ranking. Genuinely. For me, at least.
I would agree.
Yeah. There's stuff in some of the movies that are low on my list, and I'm like, this is fucking electric. Doesn't mean it's my favorite movie, though.
Okay, I'm going to take the thing. Okay, I'm going to take. All right. In the villain category,
Oh!
I will be taking Philip Seymour Hoffman's Owen Davian from Mission Impossible 3, which is by
your
far
guy.
and away
Yeah.
the best Mission Impossible villain. It's not even particularly close.
The best performance in any of these
it's
movies.
just not even really particularly close. Mission Impossible 3, an only okay movie, and rises up the rankings because of Philip Seymour Hoffman in that movie.
Yeah.
So
Your favorite performer.
yes. My favorite actor. I mean, but I also think villain is a bit. I don't think the Mission Impossible villains are all that great generally, and so I think
the villain is the impossibility. It's the very concept of the difficulty of what we're undertaking.
Or is the high the impossibility?
I think
Wow.
No. I think the
Is the high
limits
the villain?
of the
It really makes you think.
human muscular skeletal system is the real enemy.
It's time. It's time on Tom Cruise's body
Yeah.
and what he is capable of.
Yeah.
I mean, disagree. The final reckoning. How many minutes? Let's actually guess. I
Yeah.
don't know the answer to this. Let's guess and then see if we can confirm it at some point. And by we, I mean everybody who's here with us
In the
today.
booth.
How many minutes would you guess a 62-year-old Tom Cruise spent in his boxer briefs?
It's a lot.
Fighting people. Or
And did that delay you?
managing an ascent of 500 feet from a continental shelf in Final Reckoning. Did it delight me? I thought it was astonishing. Frankly, astonishing.
Well, he does multiple fight scenes in boxer briefs.
Yes.
And of course, the underwater ascent in boxer briefs.
So that he could then be cradled in the near nude in a decompression chamber by Haley Atwell's Grace. And again, I say, who among us? I get it. I'm going to guess that he was in his boxer briefs because that movie is, and I say this as someone who, with the self-awareness of someone who routinely records 4-hour podcasts, that movie is quite long. I think he's probably in his boxer briefs for somewhere between 17 to 23 minutes. Do you think that's
honestly
right or wrong?
feels accurate? And I bet in terms of the filming of those scenes, it was like, let's go again on the fight
so what
scene.
limit of the human form?
But I'm just talking about the next movie, which he's of course not going to do until he absolutely does
Wink,
it.
wink, nod, nod.
Yes.
Come on.
The decompression chamber was so funny because he comes up, he's got to be resuscitated in it. Haley Atwell is in her parka because they're in fucking Russia. But all of a sudden she's in the decompression chamber, parka's open, cleavage, gratuitous cleavage shot as she brings him back to life.
Well, as I learned from the Val
Necessary and
Kilmer
appropriate,
classic The Saint, sometimes it takes body warmth to
exactly
combat
right.
hypothermia.
Wow.
That's exactly. You're not a scientist.
Voyage of the
As
Mimi.
you have said, you're not a scientist, but you are a scholar of cinema and the human experience.
Sometimes you have to expose your cleavage in order to save someone from hypothermia.
Apparently.
Exactly right. It's about sacrifice. I have a question for you about Davian.
Yeah.
Do you think
Is
that
it what hue exactly do they use to spray paint his beautifully ruddy cheeks on the mask in the mask machine?
it wasn't going to be that, but now I'm interested.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm interested in the
I think it's
answer
like
to
a
that.
salmon pink. It's quite beautiful.
Lovely, like a coral?
Yeah.
It's whatever little spray gun they use to like rose up doll cheeks.
Yeah.
Like ultimately, I think that's what they're working
Yeah.
with.
Yes, I think that's right. Again, we said spoilers for all Mission Impossible films, does the Billy Crudup of it all, does the Musgrave reveal in any way diminish the impact of Davian as a villainous force for you? Because yet again, for the second time then in 3 movies at that point, the real villain is the secretly duplicitous, nefarious force inside of Ethan's sacred
It's a great
space.
question, but I ask you, has anyone walked out of a Mission Impossible movie or a Mission Impossible rewatch being like, that Billy Crudup villain is iconic and memorable and will stick with me forever?
Just gonna quickly move someone down my list.
Just called out.
Tough luck for John Musgrave. Okay, so that is my top pick is Owen Davian.
Yep. Where are you going next on your snake turn?
This is really tough, guys. Because I really think Max Machine and Ilsa Faust were like those are the two unbeatable. You have to have them. I guess I'll take Teammate just so I'm not like so many picks down the Teammate list later.
I just realized I can make Ilsa be in my movie with the mask.
Who's taking away a woman's
Wow.
agency now?
You've given me something to reflect on after I've made $1 billion banger.
Okay.
Not before though.
All right. Profit first, questions later.
Is that, do we want to give her that because she has the mask
Absolutely
now all the
not.
characters are in her
No,
movie?
no.
I think it's just in
No,
some
you
ways.
did not get
it's-
Rebecca Ferguson to show up to the set of your movie.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely
It's
not.
got a lot of archival footage that I can scan.
Yeah, if you want to do the Final Reckoning clip show, we might let you do some of that.
Sure. I'm going to take Benji Dunn. I'm going to take Simon Pegg off the board.
It's a good pick.
Good old Benji.
Ultimate guy in the chair, sometimes a guy in the fields, loves the opera, Benji Dunn.
I also think he's very important. Like, you need someone on the team to be fussed in order for everyone to understand how impossible the mission is. And so if someone isn't freaking out, and it's usually Benji, then I just don't buy it.
He's also like
great
incredibly,
point.
I mean, some other people sort of rise to the level of this, but Benji Dunn is like the kitten you have to protect, the puppy you have to protect on a given mission. If Benji's in trouble, like we're devastated. So, you know, he can mostly take care of himself, but not the way that Ilsa can take care of herself.
Yeah,
So,
like
you know.
does he need his lung reinflated by someone else every now and then? I
Who
mean,
among us,
yeah,
Mallory?
he does.
Who among us,
Does
Mallory?
he need some help with the hoax cipher bomb because he can't figure out the answers to the questions on his own? He does, but does that make me love him any less? To Joanna's point, no, it goes the other way.
And
Makes
the
me
point
love him
being
more.
Is to the voting population.
Wow, straight to the voters.
Um,
My fellow Americans.
Went into legit stump speech mode, staring into the camera.
To the gingers among you, I now have a double ginger cast.
Oh,
so
you
I would just
do?
like to say, I think I deserve the ginger vote at least.
It's manipulative at
Astonishing
best.
stuff. I don't know how to respond to what just happened. Remarkable bit of podcasting from you.
Mallory Rubin. No, Rob Mahoney. Rob
Yeah.
Mahoney.
I am going to go villain as well.
Okay.
And I'm going to take Solomon Lane.
Interesting.
There cannot be a draft without first a great suffering, and the greater the suffering and the greater the draft, ultimately.
Now, as we pointed out, you get Solomon Lane in all of the movies, so
True.
you don't have to pick. But if you had to pick, do you pick well-coiffed, I look at home in this record store,
Yeah.
Rogue Nation, or do you pick scraggly, I've been in some tough cells, Fallout Solomon Lane?
I would pick Fallout Solomon Lane.
Okay.
I think I do like the idea of a villain who has like I am also a sucker for like the villain behind bars, but still pulling the strings. You know, like he technically have him contained. You think you are ahead of him in his game, and yet his ambitions are big enough that you don't know what the hell he's doing. You know, why is he blowing up the supply chain? I don't fucking know. Why is he pinning it on Ethan Hunt? I really couldn't tell you. But anarchy, you know, it really serves
And
everybody.
enmity,
Yeah.
you know? All right, so Sean Harris is Solomon Lane, one of our most distinctly voiced.
Oh my God.
The gravel,
villains,
the
yeah.
gravel on that man.
And the
But a
gravel
pinch,
plus the
a
nasal.
pinch,
Yeah,
Oh,
the nasal
you're
gravel.
right,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
right.
yeah.
I have a question.
Please.
So this was what was on my mind pre-pod. Obviously, inarguably, Solomon Lane is a villain and a great villain pick.
Okay.
You're drafting a team that I strongly consider drafting. I don't mind admitting it.
Basically drafting Fallout.
I don't mind, exactly, and I don't mind admitting that that is my favorite. I think you could make a credible case that the Syndicate is a MacGuffin.
You could.
Discuss.
Oh, 100%.
I have it in
100%.
both categories.
Okay. Here's the question then. Because we have said that something can't be picked across categories, but is the Syndicate, because it's bigger than just Lane, still eligible to be picked as a MacGuffin, or is it off the board now?
I think the Syndicate is off the board.
The Syndicate is off the board,
Okay.
but the Apostles are not off the board.
Correct.
That's what I would say.
Okay. All right.
Mallory Rubin.
Well, I mean, my first pick is easy. I can't believe Luther is still here. I'm astonished. I don't understand. He was my number one ranked team member, so I will
That's
be.
not true.
Yes, I'll show
Because
you.
Ilsa is your number one.
How do I show you my board without showing you the rest? After the draft, I will show you my board. Luther is the top of my board.
Over Ilsa Faust.
Yes,
With
Ilsa
all due respect to
is-
Luther, absolutely not.
Bullshit.
I'll show
Absolutely
you.
not.
Absolute bullshit.
I'll show you. Ilsa.
I love Luther. For me, it's Ilsa, Benji, Luther. That's the ranking.
I have the same.
Here's the thing about Luther. It's. Would my heart have led me to pick Ilsa if I had the second pick overall? Probably. I think
is that
Luther
the body part you're
is-
using for that?
I think it's sort of a full body
Hey, I
experience.
know, I
if
know.
It's all going right. Okay, Luther. First of all, again, just the sheer swath of the presence across the franchise gives me a lot of flexibility, but also it gives me something even more important than plot flexibility. It gives me an emotional depth that simply cannot be matched. The relationship between Luther and Ethan is, I think, to me, irrefutably the central relationship in Mission Impossible, right? Other than between Ethan and Mankind, right?
Yes.
Or
Like, it
Ethan
is-
and Gravity.
Also that. Yes. Should we sing Defying Gravity? No?
I would love to hear it, y'all.
I thought you were going to lead us. No?
I can
Can I
Cynthia
just
that
say
thing.
that yesterday Rob Mahoney hit me with a howdy partner, and now you just deployed a y'all? What is
Am I
this-
I mean, you're a
am I
man
not
from
en-
Texas.
Am I not entitled to my own culture?
No, but here's my question. Does it come out stronger when you're in Los Angeles? Do you have something to prove in Los Angeles?
What would I have to prove
I don't know.
to these Angelinas?
Wow. I mean,
No.
when do you think my Baltimore comes out the most? Is
Oh,
it
when
when I'm
you're-
upset, when I'm excited?
When you're the most passionate.
When
Oh.
I'm talking about the Baltimore Orioles
Yeah,
record?
when she's on a tear.
You know?
When you're on a tear, that's when your vowels move. I've never, but I will say this.
You gotta look out for bowel movement. Especially as you get older, it gets a little dicey
yeah,
with
Just
the
to be
bowel
clear, she
movement.
said
Vowel
vowels.
movement.
Yeah, it's with my vowels.
But 6 of one, half a deuce of the other. So like the thing is,
Oh my God.
Mallory, I've
Yes.
never met drunk Mallory.
Oh.
So I don't know how Baltimore.
Yeah, he's right. We've had a beer or two, but never.
No. So I don't know how
Never more.
Baltimorean drunk Mallory gets. That's usually
Interesting.
when a regional accent comes out.
Interesting. Maybe one day we'll find out. I'm too old now to
To ever
I
get
can't
drunk.
handle the
Yeah.
hangovers. I'm not made of strong enough stuff.
All right, so point
Luther,
B, you have
a
Luther.
deep emotional and meaningful relationship between Luther and Ethan, which is, I think, a heartbeat that we need in the film. And also, there's nobody who is going to be able to come up with the thing we need more quickly and more reliably than Luther. He is the consummate guy in the chair. He is the one who is always able to act. Ethan goes and does the thing, but without Luther, he has no shot.
Yeah.
I actually believe that that's true.
Rob, I have a quick question for you.
Please.
If Mallory drafts Luther,
Mhm.
does she then get an entire closet of hats to go with?
I think it goes without
The
saying.
entity knew! The entity knew!
The hat is part. Well, all the many hats are part of the deal.
Okay.
I think it comes as a package. But you're
Oh,
you're right.
man.
Look, especially not to again make your case for you, Mal. But if Ilsa's like the flighty, is she really part of your team element? Like you got your ride or die.
Exactly.
Like, Luther will never abandon you literally until his
On
deathbed.
My
On the
life
one
is
hand-
oriented around relying on a few people.
On the one hand, yes. On
You
the other
guys,
hand, I
Luther?
will say Luther consisted across the franchise, but
Yeah.
often minimally in the film.
Yes.
Simon Pegg, Benji, once he joins the franchise, is number 2 screen time in most of
That's
these
true.
movies.
The minimal usage is a note I have on your favorite Mission Impossible movie.
We'll get there.
We'll get there later.
We'll get there.
But it is a problem that I have with the film now, and
It's not a problem
when
I
I
have with the film.
revisit it years later.
I'll say the other case for Luther is you need someone who's literally going to explain what's happening in the movie. And he unfortunately gets saddled with a lot of that exposition.
You know what?
but
And
you gotta have him.
when he is gone, when he is torn away from us, could any of us figure out what the fuck was happening?
No.
In Final Reckoning?
We really
we
could
not, folks.
I don't know that was Luther's film.
I genuinely recommended to somebody that they could walk in 90 minutes late and have a great time. I think that's the case with The Final Reckoning, unfortunately.
The first missing the first 90, or would you take a different stretch of 90 off?
Oh, I mean, if you could pick and choose and Frankenstein that thing, there are many, many ways you could do
Yeah.
it. But I think you could legitimately walk in 90 minutes late and have a really fine time at the movies.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Guys, I am torn on what to do with my next pick. Luther was really easy for me. I really wanted, there are a couple things here I really want. Oh man, this is hard because it's a small draft, so all the things are fun.
All good choices.
Okay, you know what? I think that for me, if Solomon Lane had been here at Villain, I would have taken him, but he's not. And so the stunts are just, it's so deep. It's such a deep field. I'm going MacGuffin, and I am taking what is, to me, I think I won't be surprised if we disagree on this and you guys have a different MacGuffin at the top of your list. To me, there's a clear number one MacGuffin, and a lot of the other ones are quite silly. I'm going Knocklist.
Yeah, Knocklist.
That's the number one.
Yeah,
of
okay,
course it
I'm
is.
thrilled to have it.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, I have 3 so far of my number ones in my category.
You're making Mission
I'm shocked.
Impossible the first Mission Impossible movie.
I do like that movie quite a bit.
It's very
I will
good.
be going into some later films, I think, elsewhere in the category
There's nothing wrong
set,
with the first
but,
Mission Impossible movie, but it doesn't
Well,
represent a lot of breadth of
Luther.
choice
Well,
here.
I don't agree because Knocklist, yes, of course, but The Mask Maker is every movie, and
I'm
so
just
is
saying
Luther.
all 3
Every
elements
movie
that you have
are present in the first.
are the first.
but
movie.
Present and prominent.
2 of the 3 are present in every single other movie.
Yeah.
So, all right, Knocklist, welcome to the fucking team.
Rob Mahoney.
Very good pick. And I think, too, it also, in terms
thanks,
of
man.
the 2 MacGuffin types you laid out, Joe.
Yes.
This is one that is not nonsense.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
it is
exactly.
not a key
Right.
that opens a door, that opens a crate, that gives the entity some control of a nuclear silo.
That dupes an AI into
Yeah.
thinking that it's
Exactly. And here's the other thing about this. Like, again, I love this franchise, sincerely. I will never tire of rewatching it. One of the things that I lament a little bit, even though many of my favorite movies are in not the last 2, to be clear, but in the Rogue Nation Fallout range. And I think those films are awe-inspiring. The back half of this franchise, we just get into like everything's about nukes. You know, like the specific, are we going for the triple plutonium cores, or
Did you see what she just did? She just pivoted to say the back half of the franchise is not that good, to emphasize the fact that her picks from the beginning of the franchise.
The human stakes of betrayal.
I love the Knocklist. I love the first Mission Impossible movie, but like the Knocklist is so specific. It feels really rooted not just in the specificity of that film, but like spy culture.
The
Spy
Chimera
culture?
is not. You're saying the Chimera is not.
I am not ashamed to tell you that Chimera was pretty high on my
I had
MacGuffin
it on
ranking.
mine. I had it on
Honestly,
mine.
pretty high on my MacGuffin ranking. But of course, part of the reason is because you don't just get Chimera.
You get Bellerophon.
You do. And you get capitalism with it. It's an important trio.
Okay.
Rob Mahoney.
Back to you in the studio, Rob.
I'm going to go Gadget. To me, there was a clear number 1. Mal's already taken it. To me, there's a clear number 2. And it's the projection screen from
Yes.
Ghost Protocol. The Kremlin, like, heist.
The umbrella hallway projector.
Yes. This to me is like what I was talking about, like almost
So cool.
almost
It is cool.
practical. Like I think you could maybe pull off a
So
slight
cool.
time delayed version of this exact
That
thing.
sequence rules.
Wow.
And so it's just like an incredible creation in terms of like a cinematic device.
I have the technical term for it in my
What is it?
list here, and it says that umbrella hallway projector thingy.
That's the one.
That's
yes.
what that is the trademark.
Yeah.
I think.
In the script,
yeah.
that's how they describe it.
Yeah.
Interesting. So the fact that it's kind of like glitchy and Benji's face pops up at like 80
That's
feet
human error.
doesn't-
That's Benji human error.
Yeah.
But shouldn't the capacity for human error be factored into the tech pick? No.
No.
You're saying
these are professionally
You're
trained
saying
agents.
your glitchy mask maker that like doesn't work, I would say 85% of the time. And you're coming for the hallway projector?
If you
when
walk
you're
too
sitting
fast,
on
the mask maker
machines?
breaks.
That's just like a volume thing. Like the sample size is just so much larger.
my,
you know?
my team right now is Ethan to be named later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elsa Faust.
Yeah.
Other teammate to be named later. I think they can work the projector.
Okay. All right. Fascinating. That is a really fun movie scene.
Very cool.
Okay.
Will you be picking another ginger? How long can you keep it going?
What else we got?
I don't know that I have any other options. Unless I'm forgetting a key ginger in the franchise. I'm picking what I consider, because I love a ginger, personally. Gingers, if you're voting, if you're
This is
watching.
ridiculous.
I love a ginger. So I consider ginger to be the highest praise. So I'm going to pick what I consider to be the ginger of stunts.
Wow.
Oh.
I didn't pick this first. It's the most important thing for me. I didn't pick it first because I know you don't care about it as much as I do. But it is the Burj Khalifa in Ghost Protocol.
It's great.
Which
great
is,
one.
I think, one of the best. I know it's great.
Fantastic.
I know it's one of the best stunt sequences of all time. You guys are just Fallout pilled in a way that I don't understand.
It's an amazing movie.
Literally one of the best movies ever.
Top to bottom, amazing action movie.
I'm just saying, I don't think I can watch individual stunt scenes from any other Mission Impossible. Well, no. One exception. With one other exception. I can just put on the Burj Khalifa sequence because there's so much going on. There's the stunt aspect of it. There's the fact that they were a little lower on it, but they were actually on the Burj Khalifa when they did this. So Tommy Cruise, risking life and limb for our entertainment as per usual. There's the tension of the time element, the tension of it.
Right.
What is going on in the rooms with all our other characters while he's doing? It's not just like, look what I can do.
Yeah.
Which is, what some of the stunts across this franchise are. This is like,
in a great way.
what is going to happen to all of these characters we care about? Our favorite character of all time, Brant. What is going to happen to all of them in the room?
I might have
if
to
he
pick
does
Brant
not?
straight, honestly. My second team member. It's go roll it out.
So the Burj Khalifa belongs to me.
Unimpeachable.
I mean, I have no notes. Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
a great pick.
It's also like, to your point, it's encapsulating so many different things at once, not just as a watchable experience, but like it is stunt, it is tech, it is great Tom Cruise hair. Like we're hitting all categories within this one.
Travelogue, too.
Sure.
Which, is a huge part of the Mission Impossible experience.
It's
It's
just,
really rooting yourself in a
stunning.
different place. Yeah.
It's just absolutely stunning.
Great pick.
It's honestly between that and the elevator fight scene in Captain America and Winter Soldier for like my favorite stunt action sequences of all time.
Those are great.
like my top two ever. Burj Khalifa, Ghost Protocol. And the thing, well, whatever. I'll talk about why Ghost Protocol is so great later.
You'll just have to remind us what happens in it.
It's so easy.
I legitimately, Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation to me are one movie. And I don't know how to articulate that because
That's
plot-wise,
interesting.
it's just not true.
That's interesting.
But time in my life-wise, I just cannot keep them straight.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, the actual shared text is Rogue Nation and Fallout.
It is. This is why it's
Yeah,
confusing.
Rogue
to
Two
me.
Nation and
wonderful
Fallout
films.
are the
Those are
Yeah,
those
yeah.
are a
They're the
legit part
sisters.
1 and part 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got a teammate, a villain, a stunt, all of which are top tier as far as I'm concerned.
The gingers of those
The
categories.
gingers of those categories. I'm going to go with MacGuffin just so I'm not stuck with Chimera, and I'm just going to take the rabbit's foot off the table.
Yeah.
Because of its like
I can't believe you had the gall to say I was going hard on one movie, and you're here in 3-4. But obviously, you get the rabbit's foot later in your favorite film as well.
That's what I'm saying. Rabbit's foot across franchise.
Well,
Benji across franchise. Owen Davian 3.
yes.
Burj Khalifa 4.
Yeah, you're very rooted in the middle.
I think if this
And
works
isn't
out
that
as
where we should be inside of a
Wow.
franchise?
wow,
And
Joe's just trying to bring both sides of the aisle
Yeah,
together.
exactly.
Oh man, rabbit's foot. So this is a
The anti-god.
Yeah.
exactly where.
It's a just in case people don't know
Yes.
and haven't seen Final Reckoning.
Yeah.
It is a liquid form of a code that eventually becomes the entity.
How does
Yes.
that work?
Oh, that's not my responsibility.
I know,
Yeah.
I'm just like.
That's not my responsibility to explain to you.
I mean, I have a hard time understanding the technology that leads like a vinyl wax record to play music, and so the idea of turning
Liquid
code
code?
into liquid, I just can't even fathom.
I don't need to know. And that's the beauty of a MacGuffin. But I will say, in terms of evocative name,
Very good.
Chimera and Bellerophon's pretty good. Rabbit's Foot is very good in
It is
terms
good.
of like the name of a MacGuffin.
Rabbit's foot is a great name.
And to have it associated with both Philip Seymour Hoffman and then the abysmal end of the
Yes.
franchise is just like a fascinating journey.
So
The way that people lost their shit when the Final Reckoning trailer came out and they're like, the Rabbit's Foot is coming
it's
back.
back.
my husband was one of those people.
Yeah.
He was freaking out
Yeah.
because, of course, one of the kind of brilliant strokes of Mission Impossible 3 is that we don't ever actually really learn anything
Nope.
ultimately about the rabbit's foot. And I would contend that the impulse, desire, soul deep need that the people making Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning had to give us that answer was one of the most misguided things in the history of the franchise.
So if we had done this draft 2 weeks ago,
the
this
rabbit's
is a good
foot.
pick.
Yes,
But
I
now,
don't need this to be
it's a bad pick,
the
Jo.
Podkova module and connect and liquid code and what
I
the
deeply
who.
agree. I do not give a shit what Rabbit's Foot does. I care
Keep
that
it a mystery.
I care that it unites
Yes.
the franchise. It links the franchise together, and I care that it's really fun to say.
I think it is
Also, great design on
great
a MacGuffin.
design, extremely fun to say. I think it
Yeah.
also only works within the context of your team because what does Owen Davies want the rabbit foot? When
Yeah.
does he want it? Now. Other than that, I really don't know what it is or it's for other
And
than
if
the
you
connection to
recall
the
the
entity.
design, it's like yellow liquid and red liquid, which is kind of a ginger liquid if you're thinking about it. So
Now you're putting yourself too far on that corner.
You know, and off as Ethan is scaling the windows, we do have like a
the
kind of
sandstorm
golden
kicks up.
reflection.
Yeah, we get a sort of gingery sandstorm moment.
The
That's the
mountain
other part that I didn't
sandstorm.
say earlier about the Burj Khalifa stunt, is because you not only have everything's happening in the room, but then a sandstorm starts coming, and you can see it coming.
Yeah.
I love that movie. Oh my god,
Okay.
Rob Mahoney.
So you guys have already gotten your MacGuffins, so I'm cleared out there.
Yeah, you can.
I'm good. And I have a teammate, a villain, and a gadget. So I need what do I need to fight with Mallory for is the question before this kind of yo-yos back to me.
I mean, go with
Why
your
don't you
heart,
try to?
man.
Why don't you try to gaslight Rob about how much he cares about hair?
I really think this would be a great place to take your Ethan. You can talk more about the constitution of the human form, the constitution of the human soul. You have sent us a number of gifts of Ethan running. I think it's probably important that you state on the record at some point, that you have the courage to state on the record at some point which run you found most memorable and mesmerizing.
I did think that was courageous. Thank you.
So you should probably pick your Ethan.
I'm going to take a stunt.
I tried.
It's good. It's good effort.
I actually am going to go with the biplane sequence from Final Reckoning for my
All
stunt.
right, I'm ready to. I'm about to rip out my serious hot takes on you. Go ahead.
You don't like the biplane?
I'll wait till you speak for once.
This is a guest courtesy that she would not afford me.
I really appreciate it. In terms of the unfathomability scale, I just legitimately do not understand how they executed it, how they pulled it off. It does not make any sense. Does it involve Gabriel? Sure. Does it have to? I just kind of pretend he's not there.
How?
As per
but
usual.
how? But how can you pretend he's
Well,
not there?
here's the thing. At bare minimum,
Yeah.
no one likes Gabriel. You get to watch him try to jump out of a plane and then kill himself on the back end of the plane
While
by
laughing
accident.
like a cartoon villain.
You know, we all have our kinks.
Again, aside Morales, you deserve better than this.
Genuinely,
This is
not
just
his fault. Should not have been in that movie at all. Should have his plot should have reconciled and finished.
Should have
Or
reckoned.
should have reckoned.
Yeah.
in the Dead Reckoning and not
Yeah.
the Final Reckoning. I just think it's one of the most technically impressive things that they've ever done. And in terms of when I think about what are the only reasons to see Final Reckoning, I think that is the number one thing I would tell people is that sequence in particular. I also think, I mean, we can get into the other stunts and the other things, but the submarine sequence is equally impressive and technically, I think, beautiful to watch and kind of breathtaking in its own way. But for me, the biplane is the selling point of that movie in a way that no other stunt is the selling point for any other Mission Impossible movie, because frankly, those movies are better.
I strongly disagree. I'll say I don't think that this is a unique opinion. I
No.
think a lot of people agree with you and thought that was amazing. This was one of most of the reasons that I did not care for the recently released blockbuster Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Most of those reasons have to do with basically trying to Avengers Endgame time heist scrapbook together our memories of things where I'm like, you're actually diluting and diminishing the
Yes.
thing, not enhancing
That
it.
stuff is bad.
The nature of how it was edited, the completely befuddling, honestly nonsensical plot. But you can kind of always make your peace with that stuff if the set pieces are extraordinary. And obviously, on some level, the biplane sequence is extraordinary.
Yeah.
It's visually breathtaking. I agree with you. The fact that Tom Cruise is actually doing that is so batshit bonkers to me. I can't believe we're alive at a time where a thing like that is happening or allowed to happen. Wild. However, here's the thing I could not stop thinking about while watching it, and I have not stopped thinking about since seeing the movie. It is, to me, a way less impressive version of the helicopter chase in Fallout.
The helicopter chase is good, but it's almost too extended a sequence to be a stunt.
Do you think so?
You can pick it. It's on my list.
You don't think that counts?
It's very good, but
Helicopter. I wrote helicopter Kashmir. That counts.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say so. But so I just
do
think
you include the other elements of the fight that sort
fight
of
on
like lead
the
into and
cliff?
follow it? Like, is that part of it?
I would argue it is part of it.
I
and you're
would say
picking
Now
everything
we're
that
getting
happens-
40% of the movie.
I would say everything that happens in the helicopters.
Okay.
Like, he doesn't, like, when he's dangling from that, oh God, I was rewatching it the other day with a friend and they were like, what are they transporting? Like, beach balls? Like, I don't know what's in that, like
like
cargo
laundry
thing,
and
yeah.
stuff for
Yeah,
the
laundry.
medical camp. Yeah.
hammocks. Anyway, so everything was starting from him jumping a hold of the rope
Yeah.
to when they exit the helicopters on the cliff is what I would say the helicopter Kashmir.
I'm willing to accept
Interesting.
this.
Okay, that'll impact whether I actually pick it as my stunt. Put a pin for a second in where we're ranking it as a stunt for the purposes of this draft and just sticking to like its role in a Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah.
I think that stretch in Fallout is just more like gobsmacking and jaw-dropping and making it more tactile and like retrograde so that Tom Cruise could climb around on it was not as impressive. And here's the bigger sin to me. It ends in the exact same way, plot-wise. It's the final millisecond of him diffusing the thing to save everyone. I'm like, we just saw this.
Mallory, that's Mission
And-
Impossible.
But that's happening too much, right? I think
would
at
say
the
it's
end.
all of that with a dash of the Airbus from Rogue One sequence, like also in the like him being on the side of the door and it's like not that door, that whole sequence as well. Because in terms of like he's actually on the plane. And also the way that Kristen McQuarrie has talked about the way that Tom Cruise would just sort of like, he's actor and director and stuntman. He's turning his head to catch the light in a certain way and like blah, blah, blah. Like all of that is the performance inside of the stunt. And I agree, by the time we got to Final Reckoning, I was like, I already been to the airport. I already seen this.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
So what I'm hearing from both of you is you think you could do it. You could be Tom on the side
I
of
don't
the
think we
biplane.
need to assert that in
Okay.
order
I think
to
it would go for me
critique
the way
it.
I think it would go for me the way it went for our dear friend Gabriel, just like a rudder to the middle of my fucking cranium.
Yeah.
But that doesn't have a bearing on how I
Okay.
Nope.
consumed that piece of cinema.
I just think Tom Cruise almost died for us, and we should show a
He
little
almost died
gratitude.
for us many times, and we have all. We have the
But this
ability to
time,
pick
most of all,
this.
and most final of all.
And
And we have to reckon with it.
all.
Like,
My favorite Tom Cruise injured himself
oh,
stunt
God.
is the one in Rogue Nation where he like falls off his motorcycle and then you watch him limp
Limp
out
off.
of frame.
He's not gonna
because he
lose that take.
actually
No, of
fucked
course
up
not.
his knee.
Oh man. Okay.
Mallory Rubin.
I'm here on the turn.
Remember how much you care about hair?
I have some kind of, I think, hot takes on Ethan's hair across the franchise. Actually.
We're gonna get there.
Can't
Yeah.
wait.
Okay, I'm gonna take you behind the curtain. I'm gonna pick my stunt now. I'm going behind the curtain a little bit. So I have 3 kind of 1A, 1B, 1C top of my stunt leaderboard contenders here. Okay. One of them is the helicopter sequence from Fallout that we were just discussing. However, if we're limiting it to that exact from the climb up the laundry bin to before we start, like if I can't also get the fight on the cliffside,
There's no way.
then
There's no way.
then that has a bearing, I think, on how I'm at least considering it. One of my other, top considerations here is of course the descent for the knock list. But I have the knock list
continue,
but I don't.
You don't get the stunt.
No, but I don't think I want to linger in that knock
Absolutely,
list.
you don't want to
space
keep
for too
remaking
long.
Mission Impossible
Especially,
1.
frankly, because I'm probably going to have to take Jim Phelps as my villain. given that I've waited on villain, honestly. We'll see what happens, but not sure I can. I don't know what'll happen with villain. I've got a couple rounds to figure it out, but it's got dark in a hurry there. So I don't think while I love that sequence, I don't think I want to go double knock list with my picks.
I agree.
And
you're weighted too heavily.
Yeah, and so I'm really
You don't want to overknock.
right. You can't overknock.
Never overknock.
Again, until I welcome Jim Phelps to my team in a couple rounds, and then it's entirely possible. That's what I'll
Jim's
do.
a great. Jim was my number 2 villain pick.
Jim is
Really?
number 2 on my board as well.
He's-
Well, we're gonna talk
Solomon
about
Lane was number 1.
We're
but Jim
gonna talk
Phelps
about
is
Jim
number 2.
Phelps.
And then the other, of course, top contender and the number 1 on my stunt list. I just love the Fallout helicopter stretch so much that it's hard for me not to pick it. And I'm Fallout light, and that's my favorite movie. But the number 1 thing on my stunt list is still here. And it is, of course, the fabled inside and outside of the movie, both as a piece of cinema and as a meta. How the fuck did they do this? This is the most astonishing stunt ever recorded and committed to film. It's the motorcycle cliff jump.
It's crazy.
Parachuting down.
Crazy stuff.
To reach the Orient Express in Dead Reckoning, which is not my favorite Mission Impossible movie. That is not my favorite Mission Impossible movie. But I think that stunt, which, you know, they took us behind the curtain, allowed us to watch the making of that. The fact that Tom Cruise trained to do that they built that ramp, that he actually rides that bike off and jumps and does all of that is so. I feel like I want a reflection of that on my list, like of what Tom Cruise has given us.
Because it's one thing.
Yeah, like a biplane type stunt on your list is what you're saying.
It's one thing. It's a testament to core strength to dangle iconically over the knock list.
Yeah, it's like anyone with a knee can kind of do the biplane thing. You hook a knee. Knock list really requires something special in the abdominal region. I don't know that there is another person alive, obviously other than professional stuntmen, but like
I was going to say an entire industry.
Yeah. An actor who would have chosen to do this, a franchise that would have supported this attempt. And it is mesmerizing. It is astonishing the way you can watch. You can see, like, this is fucking real. They did it when the bike is like flipping below him. And then he's like, I gotta get away from the mountain. And then he fucking does. And he makes his way onto the train. A train sequence, by the way, that in a movie I do not love, I also think is like really fucking cool.
The train sequence is good.
After the blowing up. You don't? You don't like when they're crawling through the cars?
No, because
you don't like Haley Atwell.
Yeah.
No, I do like Haley Atwell.
You wish she had fallen.
Again, I might be picking Grace in just a couple rounds. So I'm doing the motorcycle cliff jump. That was my number one stunt. I have such affection for the Fallout helicopter stretch that I basically just wanted to talk about it a lot. But guess what? I'm about to pick my Ethan.
Do you think they blew the motorcycle stunt by putting it in the trailer? At least like the lead up to it in the trailer.
No, I think there are some movies where I'm like, boy, I wish I hadn't heard or seen this in the trailer. But that was just like, you know, every now and then in your life, you're fortunate enough for someone to make you a promise and then follow fucking through.
I've heard of that. I don't know if I've experienced it.
It's a rare thing, but that happened there. We got it there. So I thought that was great. Okay, so that's my stunt. I thought I was going to save my Ethan for last, but I'm not because, you know, as I have conceded in recent minutes, villain has gotten a little tricky. So I'm going to wait on that. I am taking Ethan from Fallout. I'm going to do that because then I feel like I get a lot of the things that I love about Fallout with my Ethan. First of all, I think this is good Ethan hair. I like a seasoned man.
Describe the Ethan hair for.
So is this where I should drop my hot take? That I think this is really controversial. This might be my single most controversial opinion about the Mission Impossible franchise.
Should we do a social breakout for whatever you're about to say?
Look down the camera.
I'd be scared.
After what you've done to the internet already this week.
What could you possibly say?
What do you have left to lose?
The long hair is not my favorite.
It's not.
No.
You're like, well,
it's fine to be wrong about something. Would you like to describe the Fallout hair?
I think that the Fallout hair is exactly in my Ethan Hunt hair
deeply
sweet
boring.
Spot. No.
A little bit of
feathery
bang.
Exactly. Yeah. I love a feathery bang. It's not so long that while, of course, the long hair looks, the Ghost Protocol hair, the Mission Impossible 2 hair looks beautiful. Sure, I have fucking eyes. I am always like... I can't help it. There's like a rational part in my mind that I'm like, is this practical? Seriously.
It's not down to his waist. It's not going to get caught in the rudder of a biplane.
I mean.
Clearly, we've proven it.
Well, he was sort of in a like intermediate length in Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. I'm not partial to the super short, spiky.
Well, you also don't want to do
either.
another pick the first Mission Impossible.
I will be returning to the first Mission Impossible later when I welcome Jim Phelps to the club. But yeah, Fallout is like a great. The hair is styled and tight. It's not too wild, but it has a little bit of length and a little bit of volume to it. It can blow in the wind. I like that. This is where Ethan's relationships are the most interesting to me, his relationships with other people, because he has this like magnetic thing going with Ilsa, you know, and we're just like, just do it, go, be with her. Why? Oh, fuck the world. Honestly, fuck the world. Go be with Ilsa. It's what any of us would do.
That's what I would do in drafting her first for my team. You know, it's a
exactly.
great endorsement, Mallory.
Exactly.
Thank you.
As you know, I loved that pick. The way that he thinks about like his team here, the way that we have to watch him move in and out of like, is a character like Alana a villain or a team member? Maybe that will also be coming up in discussion in very short order on this very podcast. And the stunt work, the physicality, the action, the decision-making, the willingness, always with Ethan, but in a just astonishing way here to put his life on the line for everyone. Like what we watch in that helicopter sequence and on that cliff with Ethan and Walker is to me like actual Pantheon cinema. It's just unbelievable. And then you have that extra element of like really tugging on the heartstrings because Jules is there, right? And like I love that stretch in the hospital bed at the end. He's so worried about everybody. They're so worried about him. Ilsa, Jules, Ethan, they're and you're like, will this guy ever just like let himself rest and be happy? I love it.
I think what I'm discovering
I love it. I love Fallout.
is that my relationship to the Mission Impossible characters
It's very different.
is pretty shallow compared to the depth of emotional investment. Because like the hospital stuff, I'm just like, okay, I don't know.
No, see, I'm like, Ethan Hunt is one of the great superheroes in our lives, and we have to watch him suffer and yearn. And what do the three of us agree on? We love a yearn.
We do love a yearn.
We do love a yearn, but I think that like Ethan Hunt
and we love watching him use his teeth to pull this charger the clip out of a detonator. We have it all here. It's all of it.
I think Ethan Hunt in the first Mission Impossible movie where he's dealing with like personal betrayal and all these other things, there is like emotional depth there. And ever after, I think it is gloss and shine and a haircut.
I think in 3 there's some.
There's some in 3. The stakes are quite personal in 3.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't look to Ethan Hunt for emotional resonance. No. I look for the thrill of the chase.
Mm-hmm. Let me say to you as your cherished colleague and dear friend, open your heart to this experience.
I really love how you just called yourself cherished and dear. And I will say back to you as your favorite coworker and best friend in the world.
Yeah, well, you didn't bring me fucking powdered cordyceps yesterday. Joanna did.
I did bring Mallory powdered cordyceps.
Is that a pro? I feel like you don't want the cordyceps.
I thought it was your way of saying
New York,
to
and
me,
I was thinking about you, and
exactly.
I brought you powdered
I brought you an infection.
You're processing it as, I'm infecting you with a plague.
See, I would never give you a plague.
I took it as, you're always on my mind, and also, should the apocalypse come, I'd like to spend it with you.
I would.
That's very sweet.
Yeah.
Speaking of plagues,
I'm not on the road, guys. I'm leaving you behind.
Guys, I have 4 of my top picks.
Would you like to pick your MacGuffin?
Do it.
I don't want to pick my MacGuffin because I don't need to. I would like to now have the conversation Mal just alluded to about, is Alana Mitsopoulos, aka the White Widow, a teammate?
Yes.
Let me tell you this. She's smoking hot. So I think she can be whatever you want.
In that case, she's my teammate.
She's in both categories.
She's a villain as well, for sure.
Yeah.
I thought about it in villain, and to our larger conversation about the villains in this series, I think the big bads are mostly quite bad, but the mid bads are usually quite good, whether they're bureaucrats or double agents or guys who are cocking their biceps in a bathroom. Like, I think all of those things work pretty well.
And how'd that go?
I mean, the spectacular fight scene.
Yeah. But what remind me what it looked like?
I don't know. I didn't draft it, so I couldn't tell you. Just one of the great Mission Impossible characters, the White Widow. And
should we have put
great
Agent Walker's arms in the MacGuffin category?
In Gadget, at least.
Still good. Still good.
So I'm just doubling down on potential flightiness. Here's my mentality. In the end, it's going to be Ethan, right? He's going to be the one executing the impossible thing, doing the impossible stunt. How we get there along the way, it's always going to be a little dicey. Things aren't always going to go according to plan. So why not lean into 2 highly capable people who may end up deserting me when I need them most?
Okay. So let's just throw some true facts.
And Rob
out
is
here.
nothing if not a feminist. And
Rob's a feminist.
An all-female team.
Yep.
Without question, Rob has the hottest team.
And I have also not allegedly tried to turn someone into a masked slave by forcing them into my movie.
No, but you have said that you're here for the robots to ensure that they get what's theirs. Rob has the hottest team, that's clear. That's inarguable. I think Rob has some serious trust issues, though, on his team.
It's Mission Impossible. What are we doing if not betraying each other?
It's not Mission Difficult,
Yeah.
Mallory.
Excuse me, Sir Anthony Hopkins.
See, I think The missions that you guys are constructing are too easy, are too simple. I want stunts that will kill you.
Yeah.
I want a team that will probably betray you.
You want a
Burj
projection
Khalifa with faulty gloves is not going to kill you.
You want a
He's like
projection
eight- he's like
screen that
8
will
feet up.
fail. That will
You know?
fail. The
I
glove,
want a
the glove
biplane
goes
in
quickly.
the air.
It's the tallest building in the world, right?
Well, you better
Yes.
you better draft those climbing gloves, or I don't know how you're getting up it.
There's ropes. We've got things.
I was wondering about that.
Climbing
actually.
the Burj Khalifa with ropes doesn't hit the same. I can assure you.
I don't know. Getting the knock list without a harness doesn't hit the same either, does it?
Oh man.
How's Mallory gonna get the knock list? Stroll right in, I guess.
I'm not too worried about it.
Maybe I'll be drafting Don Lowe as my second team member. And he can help with the vault. So it might be necessary, actually. Okay, Alana, the light. Wow, boy. Okay, interesting.
She's great. Look, I need characters who, again, are putting Ethan in compromising positions. And who better, honestly, than her?
Phrasing, great. Okay, here's a problem that I've encountered for myself.
Yeah.
Which is that the next thing I want to do involves me doubling down on my overcommitment to Mission Impossible 3.
I am fine with you doing it, and I support it as long as you, when I pick Jim Phelps soon, don't accuse me of doing that with the first Mission Impossible.
Then I would like to draft for my team someone that will bring a depth of emotionality to the story. Someone who we got way too little time with.
Oh, interesting. This is an interesting pick.
And it is Kerry Russell's Lindsay Ferris in Mission Impossible 3.
Wow.
How about that?
She was Ethan Hunt's first trainee.
Uh-huh.
He's emotionally invested in her. And if anyone has seen The Americans, you know that we deserved way more
Yeah.
time with Kerry Russell as a spy. So I would like to build a better movie that involves Lindsay Ferris not getting a bomb detonated in her head, but getting to survive. And with love and respect to Simon Pegg, this bumps up the hotness scale on my team.
Wow.
Which I
Shots
think is a
fired
good-
at the ginger vote.
Sheesh.
So you're drafting a movie based on things that character has never done
This
before.
is what I was going to ask. Yeah. So you're projecting. You're scouting the talent.
I would like to see more of what she can do.
Right.
And I think it's great stuff.
Okay. So
She was trained by Ethan Hunt.
you're
great
less
point.
high on her, for example, getting killed.
Tough beat.
If you want to draft Josh Holloway, I will support you.
Considering it, still need my second team. You are less high on, we have to say it, the wrong mole. Thought it was someone it wasn't inside of the IMF.
It's tough.
So that's concerning, right? That's concerning. However, I do think the use of the microdot was compelling. I don't really blame her for the explosive pellet going off in her brain. That was a tough beat. It wasn't her fault.
No.
Could have
It was
happened to
there to
anyone.
establish stakes.
Yeah, so that
on
Ethan could bite a stick later.
How scary
Yeah.
Owen is.
Yeah.
And how scary it would be to watch Michelle Monaghan get her people blown out by a bomb inside of her head.
It certainly would be quite scary.
But guess what?
What? Now
Wasn't-
you get to pick hair.
Wasn't her. Translator in a mask. Mask maker.
Since I don't have to pick my MacGuffin, since you already picked yours, now it's time for me to talk about Ethan Hunt. Which Ethan Hunt I want. On hair based, I think it's easy and it's Mission Impossible 2.
Great hair.
Sensational.
Just absolutely the best. And I think we
Not
didn't,
for me, but
we didn't pick it
sensational.
as a stunt, but I think the free solo climbing of the
Yeah.
rock face in Moab, Utah is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And I also had in device the Oakleys that he throws at the camera and they
Explode.
blow up,
Tremendous.
incredibly cool. This is and they released that. I want to say, let me take you back in time. At the MTV Movie Awards, they
Oh,
showed
yeah.
that opening sequence, and we were like, "What the fuck? This is gonna be the coolest movie ever." It wasn't. It's
Well-
not. But I think if I pick Ethan Hunt from the second one, I want him to stay in his rock climbing capris
Right.
and tank
Sure.
top. That's the only thing that I'm really that interested in. Which means that I kind of want to pick Ghost Protocol, Ethan Hunt, because he's got similarly great long hair, without the need to keep him on a rock in order to enjoy his presence. But now, once again, I'm scared that I am too mid franchise centric. Not
true.
scared, just questioning. So
Oh, man.
Can I ask you a question about this particular Ethan with regard to his hair?
Mhm.
Are we worried about post-sandstorm Ethan? Like, that's a lot of conditioning work that needs to be done after that sandstorm.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of a fixer-upper by the end of this movie.
It's great.
How do you feel about that?
No, it's a great question. As someone who enjoys the beach, like the sand in your hair question is a really good one.
I would ask in response, does it matter if all you're doing is hurling yourself over the edge of a very tall parking garage?
I'm just saying into the future.
And again, once again, I say to you,
For life.
my love of Ghost Protocol also includes its flaws, which is a parking garage centric closer to the movie.
Very strange stuff.
Just
at
a
the end
lot
of
of
that
concrete
film.
happening.
Very strange stuff at the end of that movie.
Actually, you know what I'm going to do?
I think you just picked.
Nope, I am going to pick brush cut Mission Impossible 1.
So you
Ethan Hunt.
just laid out a whole case and then walked it back?
Yeah.
What a twist. What happened
Wow.
there?
I just don't feel he's like very represented in in anything that we have here. And I just want like fresh faced. He's just starting out. What
Yep.
would his life have been if like at the beginning he
Mhm.
had Benji on his side?
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want.
Interesting. It's interesting you say that because you know who he did have on his side right at the start?
Luther.
Luther.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he got absolutely duped for most of that movie.
He did.
Yeah. It's fine.
But to
You
be
know,
so
it
young,
had been disavowed,
know?
had to be brought back for a
Yeah.
team. You know, it just like.
If you would like to pick Emilio Estevez, also I would support it. Kristen Scott Thomas. Like there's a lot of options here of people who die right away in a Mission
their
Impossible
screen time
movie.
is ample.
Yeah, yeah.
Almost Lindsay-esque.
That's what I'm saying.
And their
Josh
impact and
Holloway,
presence.
you know, I consider Paula Patton. And I will say, I think the most important thing that's ever happened in all of cinema is when Paula Patton's character, Jane, donkey kicks Lea Seydoux out of
So good.
the Burj Khalifa.
This-
like,
That one also to dodge to me what is such like a classic action movie pitfall, which is like we have the one female agent
Yes.
hero and the one female villain, and they
Yeah.
must fight. And it's like that scene has actual personal stakes and actual plot
Yeah.
reasons to be happening, and is a fucking good fight scene.
I call that the Proxima Midnight.
Shout out to Carrie Coon.
Yeah.
Oh man.
In her finest hour. Okay, wait. So then I get my next pick,
You
right?
do, yeah.
Okay. And it's my last
Well, I
one.
think you
Wait.
just made two
No,
picks.
you just
if
made
that's-
two. You picked Lindsay and
Damn it, I did.
First
Okay.
Ethan.
Well, you made three because you picked Ghost Protocol Ethan and then OG.
And also am I too, Ethan?
That's true.
A lot of Ethan selection being
I'm
made.
picking original flavor, Ethan Hunt.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and take a Ghost Protocol Ethan and take him off the board. Both of my categories at this point are like I'm pretty boxed in. Like I need a MacGuffin and I need an Ethan. You guys have already
I
selected
consider
those.
this your tacit acknowledgement that Ghost Protocol is a great film.
It is a
You
good
actually
film.
have it pretty high. It's Mallory Rubin who's the problem.
I
with Ghost
quite
Protocol.
like
have it in
Ghost
the middle.
Protocol.
I'm in the middle. It used to be one of my favorites.
You
It's in the
told
middle
me
for
the other day it was your the second worst
in
Mission
the-
Impossible movie.
in the immediate
Wow.
like haze of having finished my rewatch, I was just like not vibing with it. It used to be one of my absolute favorites. I will reveal where it landed in my final order. It's in the middle. It is. I have three clear tiers, and it is in the middle tier.
I think that's fair. A lot of hair versatility, not just running through the sandstorm, not just the Burj Khalifa, but like our guy knows how to wear a tux. You
it's
know?
a great mid cut because
Very
like
good
it's like in Mission Impossible 2, it's just long all the time.
Yes.
In Ghost Protocol, you can sort of slick back it's a little mullety. You can sort of slick back the long ends in the back, and it looks convincingly mid cut. So yeah,
I'm feeling look for the third Ethan to get Ghost Protocol Ethan. Let's fucking go.
Was there another Ethan you were considering?
I was considering two on hair alone.
Hair alone.
it's compelling. It's really compelling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eat shit later series, Ethan.
Yeah, no one was going to pick Final Reckoning
Post
or Dead
Fallout, there's
Reckoning.
nothing to recommend there.
Ethan, I don't think. Though again, quite a long stretch of the final movie takes place in boxer briefs, which I do admire.
I'll also say about Ghost Protocol, Ethan.
Yeah.
Is he is like freshly off having like let his wife go live her life elsewhere.
It's true.
And so he's like nursing this sort of broken heart.
It's sad boy Ethan.
Yeah, sad
Yeah.
boy Ethan. It's very good.
He's sort of
I
always.
gotta say-
and
it's
what I
always
really
sad
like,
boy Ethan.
there's like no vibes with him and Paula Patton because she's sad over Josh Holloway. So it's just sort of like
See, I disagree. I think
think there's
I think
vibes?
there's a pretty good vibe.
sexy. No, like good vibes, but I wouldn't say like will they, won't they vibes because I feel like they're both like
Yes.
heartbroken.
There's
you know?
definitely it's
Yeah.
definitely more heartbreak, but there is
Yeah.
just like a pure organic chemistry that happens when you put them in like the ball gown and the tux and the seduction of like, getting this guy to show you his art collection upstairs,
She's
you know?
so good at that.
She's wonderful.
yeah.
Mallory's
the,
skeptical.
The hot member of the team entering a fancy function in a gown between Maggie Q and Paula Patton and Rebecca Ferguson is just one of my favorite.
Stiff competition there.
Mission. Yeah, very stiff. Okay, what's next?
Okay, so I have my final 2 picks during the turn, and I have to take my second team member and my villain. Team member, a lot of good and interesting choices, albeit not the top of the field, but plenty of Alana-esque, you know.
Yeah.
You can make the case.
Tell yourself, yeah.
Better than Lindsay, certainly, who I had 13th on my list. Villain, it's a thinner field. I have Jim Phelps as my second-ranked villain, as previously mentioned. I can't bring myself to engage with the Kurt Hendricks Cobalt Ghost Protocol
Nor should
villain.
you.
No.
I can't. If this
Sean
were,
Ambrose?
I was going to say, if this were a comedy draft, I
My
might
God.
consider
D. Gray Scott, our guy.
The man is
Sean Ambrose.
100% underbite, no personality.
Wild, just
don't know what's
wild
happening.
stuff, astonishing stuff. For the previously discussed reasons, I will not be selecting Musgrave. And I think that Gabriel is like a truly terrible villain.
I
Yes,
thought you were about to talk yourself into
no,
it.
Hard
it's
agree.
just actually
Hard
like
agree.
bad.
Oh, yeah.
I'd have an easier time making the case for the entity, but it's also just not for me, and I don't think particularly well executed. And so my choices for villain are ultimately Jim Phelps or Walker John Lark. Those are my choices. This is interesting because I'd like to commit more fully to Fallout, but I think that Jim Phelps is a stronger villain. I do.
Jim Phelps is a really good villain.
Yeah, so I'm going to take Jim Phelps. Welcome to the team. Here's why I like the Jim Phelps pick as my villain. Not only because great, just in a vacuum, interesting villain,
Yes,
right?
definitely.
Good performance, the De Palma energy and like the treachery and the betrayal. Ethan realizing what's happening because of a stamp inside of a Bible, like all great stuff. The extra element of Claire and the way that the mistrust seeps deeper into the team. You know, how deep does The Rock go? All of that inside of the first Mission Impossible film is wonderful. Leads to John Voight doing some stunt work in the channel that I don't think any of us ever expected we would see. But that's not relevant to the current discussion.
Great glasses acting.
Certainly wonderful glasses acting.
Yeah.
The reason that I really like having Jim Phelps as my villain, though, is because it's one of the most essential, like, original wounds for Ethan.
Very true.
And it's such a recurring beat across the rest of the franchise. The treachery inside of the IMF, the question of whether Ethan can trust anybody in leadership, the number of times that Ethan is either actively or kind of like subtly and passively-ish, like disavowed, cast off, blamed, framed by the unit and the country and the world that he serves is so shameful. And you understand where it all stems from and how it would affect him and what it would wash up for him every time. So Jim Phelps, welcome to the club. Team member. You know,
one counterpoint on Jim Phelps.
hit me. It gives me more time to think of team member.
He's literally barely in the movie, and I would say within that, barely gets a chance to be a villain in the movie.
Here's something that I will
Some
say.
things can be subtle. Not everything has to be fucking a rudder into your brain on a biplane.
It
Rob.
is Mission Impossible.
something for a bit of cultural education for the children. I mean, I know that there are plenty of people who don't know that Mission Impossible was originally a TV show, which
Yes.
it was. And the fact that Jim Phelps was the like heroic lead of that TV show, and when they adapted to a film, they're like, let's make him the villain, was a really cool
Smart choice.
twist for the people who love the TV show going into the movie. I love that about Jim Phelps.
I would say, though, by drafting Jim Phelps, you're also drafting Shea Wiggum as his son into your movie.
I'm not.
And I would say the single
Briggs
dumbest...
is not a part of my story. Not a part of my world.
The single dumbest
Nope.
part of Final Reckoning is when Briggs shows up at the end,
I'd like to shake your
pulls out his gun, and then pulls the bait and switch handshake. Oh my sweet lord.
It's
what are they doing?
really bad.
That was a horrible scene.
Really bad.
Not relevant for my
It's
pick.
almost like the thing about the Christopher McQuarrie era of Mission Impossible is they got away for so long with just like making movies up as they went.
Yes.
And then the wheels fell off every single vehicle in the final movie.
Oh, man. Okay.
So one final teammate for you?
Yeah, I think
Good luck beating Elizabeth Jennings from The Americans, which is who I drafted.
That's not
on my
who you
team.
drafted.
Yeah, I did.
Matthew Reese also not
I did.
eligible.
Master of wigs and accents.
Does that mean that if I take Paris, I'm also taking Mantis?
Yeah.
Yeah? Is that how it works?
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to take a hot chick, for sure. I don't mind saying it. I'm sorry, I don't mind saying it. I think I need it. I think my movie needs that. Again, with respect to Brant, I need...
So you're saying Vanessa Redgrave is Max? Because I would support it.
I mean, that would be great. But it has some of the, in the bloodline that Rob has chosen on his team with Alana. It's just some trust issues there, I think.
Definitely.
Are you picking Grace?
I think I'm going to pick Grace.
Bummer move. Okay.
I'm not sure, though. I'm still deciding here because I could do Paris.
Oh, you're going to Joe this thing where you pick it and then you walk it back.
I could do Julia. I mean, not IMF, but ends up being involved in so many
Julia counts.
Of the missions at various points in various films.
Julia definitely counts. Less useful than Lindsay Ferris, I would say.
Only one of them had their brain exploded. Within 4 minutes.
Only one of them decided to marry Wes Bentley.
That's
and I think that's a bigger mark against you.
Wow.
Very fair. I could pick Paris. Could pick Naya. I could pick William Donlow. Talk about a needle mover on the social vote. Should I pick
Jen Lee,
Kittredge?
Maggie Q?
We'll not be doing that.
Okay.
I think part of why I really like the third Mission Impossible movie. Part of why 3 and 4 are not top tier to me, but are middle tiers. Like the teams are just not as good. The teams are not as good. I am going to pick Grace. I'm going to pick Grace. I don't think that
it's a good pick.
The argument for Grace is an argument for the movies that Grace is in.
Sure.
Is what I will say. And I think that Grace gives me street smarts, right?
Okay.
Fastest hands in the business could come into play in a lot of different
in
ways.
Every business, apparently, just in the world.
Yeah. So if I need in a 1/1,000,000th of a second someone to grab Joanna's MacGuffin, I've got Grace to do it. If I need someone to cuddle and cradle Ethan as his decompression sickness somehow
warm him with her bosom,
leaves his body, I have that. Someone who made the choice, right? Who made the choice. This becomes a big part of the canon in the later movies.
It really does somehow.
I like that Grace is like brought into this, but has her own life and her own history and her own skills. And then those become like the utility that she already has and the choices that she already made for herself are then deployed in this interesting way inside of this like world-saving apparatus. I am not a fan of Dead Reckoning or Final Reckoning as movies, but I do like the Grace character. I do.
This is another pick where if you had made this pick a month ago, I think I would have been more on board with it. Because Grace in Dead Reckoning,
good character,
delightful, charming, light touch. Grace in the Final Reckoning,
the car chase. Look, the car chase in
Rome. The Mini Cooper car chase.
See, that
really
was
good.
one I was curious about. Is that a stunt?
Yeah,
Fiat 500.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I don't think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but
Fiat, yeah.
That's a great. I thought someone might pick that as their device gadget, and you still might, perhaps, because you need a device and gadget.
I don't even know what car it is, so yeah, I definitely gonna pick it.
I just would have liked, in the scope of
Quick thinker,
2-hour, 45-minute Final Reckoning movie or whatever the runtime is, like give her something more to do than bosom warming and dog sledding.
I agree, but that is not her fault. That's the movie's fault.
But that's half her runtime,
I just think
maybe
she's
more.
Such a blatant, transparent. Rebecca Ferguson doesn't want to be in our movie anymore. Let's just port in Haley Atwell.
Well, guess what?
And it's like,
sad. I couldn't draft Rebecca Ferguson.
So you want Rebecca Ferguson methadone
in the first round, and so in the 7th round, I'll take the next best thing, I guess. Grace, welcome to the club. I had across my 7 categories 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of my top picks. Then I had one number 2, and Grace was my 4th ranked teammate. No, sorry. Yes, 4th ranked teammate, actually.
That's great. I love that you love the first Mission Impossible movie. That's wonderful.
I'm really counterbalancing that with the Grace pick as well.
Are we all teammates off the board? Do you have 2 teammates, Joe?
I do.
Joe just needs device and gadget, I think, right?
I think,
right?
honestly, as far as the later movies go, Paris was pretty tempting.
Yeah.
I really like Paris's whole deal, like stabby aggro Paris in particular, I think is super fun.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just not quite enough there. Like it's like that plus a little comic relief is maybe not quite enough to hang together as a go-to teammate.
Yeah, I think it's a little tough. All right, Rob, you're down to your MacGuffin.
I'm down to my MacGuffin.
Will you be doing Chimera? Please do it.
I'm going to take Julia as my MacGuffin.
No.
No?
No.
What?
No.
Julia in Mission Impossible Fallout is straight up bait to get Ethan.
Bait is different from MacGuffin.
Is it?
Yeah.
What would you say is the difference between bait and MacGuffin?
She's a damsel tied to a train
That's a
track.
MacGuffin.
That's not a MacGuffin.
What's the difference between a cruciform key that needs to unlock a lock versus you need to come to this place so we
He
can
doesn't
fight?
even know she's there. She's just there.
You made Joe mad. You made Joanna mad.
This is not my fault. This is Fallout's
That's
fault.
not mad. I'm not mad.
I have a serious question for you, and I want
That
you.
was so party-gaz of you. You're very animated, Joanna. Calm down.
I was supporting you.
Okay, what if the
Was that because you wanted another beautiful
Hot
woman
babe
on
on
your
your-
little grid?
I'm just
on
trying to support
Instagram?
women. I don't know
sure,
what you're
be
talking
honest.
about. I just think the ultimate MacGuffin
By calling
is.
a woman a thing, a MacGuffin,
I didn't do
is
that.
that better than Mallory saying, if I've got the mask maker, I can make any woman?
Take it up with Christopher McQuarrie. Take it up with the writing team for Mission Impossible Fallout.
Yep.
I didn't do
Writing
it.
team?
Tom
Is
Cruise.
Tommy and Chris in the trailer at lunch? Yeah.
Basically so. Okay.
No, Julia.
I think that the
Wow.
ultimate MacGuffin is love, but apparently you disagree. You know what? Fuck it. I will go with Chimera.
Hell yeah. What a twist. Oh, man.
It's a pretty generic chemical weapon, if we're being honest about it. But the fact that you can infect people with it, and then sell them the cure is a devious bit of capitalism that I have to salute. It also reminds me a lot. I find myself thinking a lot about Jackie Chan this week, apparently, of the movie The Tuxedo. Did you guys see The Tuxedo?
Yeah, I've seen
In
the
which
tuxedo.
the devious master plan is to create a bottled water that also makes you thirsty, so you will buy more bottled water, but they
Wow.
overcalibrate and it kills you. Tough. But all of which is to say,
Thanks for bringing up the tuxedo on this
this
very
is
podcast.
I'm just here for supply and demand, ultimately, right? Like
Yeah.
we're creating an infection like the one that you introduced to Mallory, and I'm here with the cure, Mal. I'm here to help you. I'm
You
here to
can't
help the
cure
people.
cordyceps.
Well,
That's
maybe
exactly right.
maybe you can't, but ultimately we can.
Is this the only? So obviously, some of our characters or like some elements, like the mask maker, go across films. Is this the only pick that is specific to Mission Impossible 2 that was taken today?
I mean, nothing was taken out of Mission Impossible 2. It's like they left all that stuff for dead.
My favorite part of it, I think again, especially because of the nuke bloat over the rest of the franchise, I actually think like bioweapon, big pharma, insidious intent, profiting from the stock options, all of that is like actually, I think, kind of interesting. The success of execution,
Minimal.
Sure.
we can quibble, but the thing to me about Chimera in the second Mission Impossible movie that I just, no matter how many times I see this movie, simply cannot get over is that they feel compelled to explain what was ultimately, I think, fairly easy to understand in the swath of confounding Mission
Yes.
Impossible things, which is like made the bad thing so that we can make the good thing and then make money from it.
Pretty straightforward.
7 times
Yeah.
in the movie. They explain the exact same thing.
Well, I'm
John
not,
John was just
Why?
ahead of his time in terms of the studio notes that people get these days, which
Yeah.
is like if people are looking at their phones, you have to explain the thing 7 times.
to be
Oh my
fair,
God.
I did rewatch it while basically on my computer, and
Yeah.
it was a great time. I didn't miss a single plot point in Mission Impossible 2.
Did you watch any Mission Impossible movies last night, Rob?
No, I ended up doing some like greatest hits clip jumping
Okay.
instead of watching in full. I need to be selective.
Yeah.
I need to be
Okay.
Sure.
targeted.
Sure.
Got a lot to do. All right, it's my pick and it's the last pick. Is that correct?
Last pick of the draft, baby.
I can't believe y'all kept Julia out of this draft. Like I
And-
was just trying to open the door for her.
And should
Should I take Julia as my teammate instead of Grace?
Definitely could.
Too
She's a very good spy, as we know.
late.
Yes. Goes fine for her.
She's at the White Lotus. Let her be.
Yep.
That all went great.
Guys, should my last pick of this draft be chewing gum? Because I'm thinking about it.
First of all,
As a gadget?
yeah, the exploding gum. I
Exploding
give
gum
you
is so iconic.
one more limit to attacking how many first film picks I've made.
Mhm.
If you do that, so that would be welcome for me personally. I think that's a great pick.
Here's what I'm
actually.
considering. Let's just go through the process with me, shall we?
Yeah, you don't need the climbing gloves.
I don't need the
'Cause you have
climbing. I
that.
want the climbing
I
gloves,
think
but I
you
have
very much
no. I
need
want the climbing gloves, but
I
I have a whiff of them because I
Yeah.
have the Burj Khalifa, right?
Yes.
That would be over-indexing on Burj Khalifa.
Okay.
I want the chewing gum just
Yeah.
because it is iconic from the original and then brought back again later.
Yeah.
Have
Have you considered taking the brain bomb so that you can figure out how to stop it and keep Lindsay alive for more than 6 minutes of your movie?
It's a great question.
Study the tech.
Yeah.
Injectable Transponder.
Sure.
Yeah.
Pretty basic.
I
though.
actually
Yeah.
think the best, like the most useful out of all the tech, I genuinely think this, are the contact lenses.
Yeah,
That
those
can
are
identify anyone and also, I don't know, Xerox something
Yeah.
just by looking at it or whatever
the
it is.
smart
you need them
lenses.
to-
That's one of the things that was on
Yeah.
my mind at the beginning of the pod when we were talking about things that now actually like
It's just not very
exist.
It's just not
that
very
they've like
grade
made.
friendly. I don't know what the social team is going to do.
It would
with
be like Renner's eyeball.
yeah,
I
Renner's
think,
eyeball
right?
with the like, yeah. All right, smart lenses. Because Mallory gave them a quippy name,
There
I
you
will
go.
go with smart lenses rather than what did I have written here? Face ID contact / coffee machine contacts.
How do you feel about like an AR?
How big are the cells on your
I've-
spreadsheet? I don't understand.
Oh, I'll show you why they're so large later.
God.
How do you feel about
Oh
this
no, I
tech?
can show you now. It's over. I put.
It's not over.
Oh, you have one less pick.
No, I'm just saying, it's
It's
never,
never over.
No.
I have a photo of Ethan in my Ethan
Wow.
column from every movie,
Just for
so we
reference.
could like know what the hair looked like.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, great pick.
Could
for
you walk
Gross
us through
Protocol
the
photo.
color coordination on your
Oh, that's
on your spreadsheet?
the colors indicate if it's only in one movie,
film. Yeah.
is color coded to that movie. The key being down here at the bottom.
Look
but
at
then
you.
if it's a cross franchise, then it's just
You don't color
blank.
code?
Inspiring work. I do colored text.
Oh,
You know.
oh, what? You know what I was inspired by, Rob? The mere at the end of the drafts, because I did not cheat, glimpse I got of your 2000 big pick
Yeah.
draft spreadsheet that was like a split, like a diopter sort of spreadsheet approach.
I have a complex process that Joe likes to screen watch as we're
Absolutely
doing
not.
these drafts.
Absolutely
2 years
not.
running.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
Despicable behavior.
not. If anyone watches the tape, I actively like cheated away from you. I gave you my cold shoulder
Yeah.
because you accused me of looking at your screen.
That's
last
called
time.
the bait and switch. Like you're looking over
Yeah,
the shoulder as you
I'm
turn.
practically Grace. Fastest fingers.
Little sleight of hand.
All right, so,
So
we
that's
did
what
it.
you're picking, the smart lenses.
I am picking this one.
Mm.
Okay. Not the smart car. You don't want the
No.
zippy car for the car chase.
Would-
Nobody picks self-destructing messages as their gadget.
I don't.
It is very Mission Impossible, but it's
I would
not
pick
the most
I
practical.
would pick a specific one.
Yeah.
So I would pick like the Utah Oakleys.
But they seem so dangerous. I like a nice
Um,
gentle white puff of smoke that has no risk of burning my face off.
What about a record store?
Sure. Yeah, disposable
booth,
camera.
That one's good.
You know,
Would
Oh,
the
man.
flute sniper rifle have counted?
that was on my list.
I didn't know if like weapons are gadgets
Flute
or
gun
not.
was here. The program that Benji has that like turns into
That's a good one. I like that
monitor.
one.
That
Yeah.
one's really sick.
I like that. The speed wing, the halo jump kit.
The metal eating orange foam from Mission Impossible 3.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
The
From
orange-
the
I do
Chesapeake
like
Bay
orange
Bridge
foam.
sequence. Yeah.
Decompression chamber. Entity communication coffin, as previously discussed. Can't believe that made it. My God.
All right.
Chewing gum would have been a good one.
Let's read our final teams.
Yeah.
And then talk about some of the other honorable mentions that we didn't get to.
That
and
sounds
then
great.
do our ranking and then call it a day. Shall we? Okay. So, Rob Mahoney, would you like to share your picks?
I would love to. My Ethan is Ghost Protocol Ethan.
Right.
My team is Ilsa Faust and Alana the White Widow. My villain
Really good.
is Solomon Lane.
Beautiful.
My MacGuffin is, of course, the Chimera and Bellerophon. Is that right?
Yep.
Mhm.
My stunt is the biplane stunt escape, complete with Gabriel getting his head smashed in. And my gadget is the hall projection screen.
Interesting.
It's a great draft. Good job.
Thank you.
Mallory Rubin.
Okay. Let's see. My Ethan is Ethan Hunt from the cinematic masterpiece Mission Impossible : dash Fallout. They call Mission Impossible dash Fallout.
Yes.
Fallout Ethan is my Ethan. That's thrilling. My first team member is icon legend Luther. My second team member is Grace.
Did you as your gadget select a chair for Luther?
Or a hat.
Anything.
Yeah, he comes with the hat. He
Okay.
comes with the hat. My villain is Jim Phelps. My MacGuffin is the knock list. My stunt is the bike jump off the cliff to parachute down to the train. And my device / gadget is the mask maker.
My name is Joanna Robinson, and this is my pick. I picked the original Ethan Hunt from Mission Impossible, 90s Tom Cruise. How can you argue against it? My team is one Benjamin Dunn, played by Simon Pegg, a ginger, and one Lindsay Ferris, played by Carrie Russell, who has often russet highlights in her hair.
Wow, look at that.
My villain is just could not be more ginger. Philip Seymour Hoffman is Owen Davian, the best villain, clearly, that this franchise has ever seen. My MacGuffin is the rabbit's foot, which is, once again, a liquid form of code that eventually becomes the entity. My stunt is one of the best things that's ever happened in all of cinema, which is the Burj Khalifa climb.
Wow.
And my device gadget are and I definitely knew this is what they were called, smart lenses that can Face ID people and do a number of other things. And those are our Mission Impossible sort of like constructions drafts final round. Mallory, Rubin, any honorable mentions you want to talk about?
Oh boy, great question. Let's see. We've talked about the Fallout helicopter stretch a lot, so nobody picked it, but we don't need to talk about it because it's sort of accounted for with some of our other picks. Okay, you know what I want to talk about on the stunt front that we didn't talk about? The underwater vault red box retrieval.
See, I just prefer the Sevastopol to that.
Sevastopol.
The Sevastopol.
Really?
I think it's like a better riff on the same idea.
Oh, wow.
In terms of you need to solve this underwater puzzle in a certain amount of time with all of these moving components. I prefer.
But one of them feels like believable, and one of them believable. It's Mission Impossible, and one of them required us to accept that Tom Cruise, outside of the the patented naval deep sea diving suit, would just be fine. 500 feet below.
Also, he shot himself out of a torpedo tube. But don't worry about it.
I did like the stretch inside of the sub.
What about the Paris Halo jump?
Yeah,
I mean, that's
a great one.
It's great, but by the end of the series, it's almost too straightforward to pick.
I do really like when Walker's like, you fucked up your oxygen tank. It's great.
I love
Fallout. What a movie.
The beginning. I don't love the whole stunt, but the beginning where you follow Tom as he jumps out of the plane and you know that he's actually doing that. Is
really good.
Bananas.
Yes,
really good.
Joe doesn't like it, but justice for the train sequence in Dead Reckoning,
it's just
I enjoy
basically Uncharted. Like Uncharted did it. And then Mission Impossible tried to do it.
Just hard disagree.
We already mentioned the Utah free climb, motorcycle jousting in Mission Impossible 2.
Oh, sure.
You know,
a genuinely maniacal bit of movie making. It's just this. Defies comprehension in every respect.
If you take it out of the context of thinking it's a Mission Impossible movie and it needs to live up to everything that follows it, it's just a fun, dumb action movie that I enjoy watching.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
But I guess Bill and I were talking about this when I gave a really only mid TV show B+. I like when things know what they are. And the thing is that like John Woo's Mission Impossible is also trying to be like Hitchcock, while also trying to be a dumb John Woo action film. And I'm like, you're trying too many things at once. What is Anthony Hopkins doing here? I have a lot of questions.
Many people are asking.
Okay.
We very briefly talked about the Rome car chase sequence, but I think requires another mention. That's wonderful. Also, crucially features my beloved Grace in starring fashion, outwitting Ethan.
I don't know that I've gotten a bigger laugh all series than when they inexplicably end up changing seats in the middle of that stuff. It's really
that's
fun.
really good. That's really, really good.
Great stuff. Should we talk about the bathroom fight more? Do you think we talked about it enough?
I think we talked about it enough.
Wait, remind me what happens when John Lark, re-enters the fray.
I couldn't tell you. I mean, it's getting a little fuzzy, but it is a little bit of a kind of situation.
You were looking.
Caught it out of my peripheral
vision. It's on video. It's locked in.
I caught it out of my peripheral vision. Got
that
it.
was like a tragedy that you weren't looking.
Got it right
but
here.
if she had, maybe something bad would have happened. Maybe we would have been leaning in too much.
That was genuinely thrilling.
Crucial part of that scene is Tom Cruise just getting the ever-living shit kicked out of him.
Oh yeah, like sinks are being destroyed.
Getting so much thrown into sinks and urinals and many things. It's painful. It's disgusting. It's great.
Actually, the best part of that whole sequence is when Ilsa pretends that the massive lake of blood on the floor is from someone's nosebleed.
You'd be dead, I think, right?
That's what happens. That's what happens when Ilsa tries to convince you of something. You're like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Sure.
Sounds right. Oh, also, I actually don't know if it's explained and I missed it, but why are there so many people in suits at this rave in Paris?
Have you been to many Parisian
power
raves?
brokers?
No one's in suits on the floor. Everyone's in rave gear on the floor. And then you go to the bathroom and it's just businessmen. Why?
Yeah, that's the class system, Joe.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for explaining that to me. Okay. Any device gadgets we missed? I will say Brant's magnetic vest that he has to like jump down an air shaft and it keeps him floating. I'm putting it on the list.
Sure.
It seemed very hot down there, and he was complaining a lot about the temperature. So
Sounds
I
like
get
you.
it.
Sounds like
I get
you.
it. Yeah.
Sounds like
I
you
was
every
why
day
is
of
it
our life together.
90 degrees in the studio, and then Arjuna or John is like, it's 67.
Yeah.
Not a lot of
Device or
brand talk on
gadget?
this pod in
I
general.
think that's
will say.
fine. It's one of the reasons that Ghost Protocol
No, Ghost Protocol is great,
has
but
not held up as well for me over time.
Here's the
It's like not
deal.
a character that matters.
I hear
Yeah.
you when you're talking about the team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is a big flaw of Mission Impossible 3.
Yes,
I would say
huge.
Simon Pegg is so good and so important to the rest of the franchise
Yes.
that he offsets
Mhm, mhm.
the Renner,
Mhm.
factor. Okay, MacGuffins, anything we didn't mention that we want to talk about? It's just nuclear launch codes, nuclear cores,
Yeah.
nuclear bloat, as Mallory called it, the entity itself.
Cruciform key. Got to
Yeah.
say it on the pod. Can't conclude the pod without saying cruciform key out loud. I don't think so.
I legitimately
It's
do
like-
like the cruciform key until the point where the Russians just like 3D
We have one
printed
too.
another one.
We
that
have
was
one too.
very,
Yeah.
very tough for this like one singular artifact you need to solve
Yeah.
the puzzle.
It makes Dead Reckoning not a good movie even worse. Okay, in retrospect. Villains that we didn't talk about.
Mm,
Well, how high up the villain list did you have to be? Because, like, how do we feel about henches?
I think henches count.
Do you know? So, like, Leia
Yeah.
Sadu in
Yes.
Ghost Protocol, Jean
Yeah.
Reno in the first one, right? It's Franz Krieger.
Love Krieger.
Leia Sadu,
Sabine Moreau.
that's another thing. It's like just not nearly enough.
Not nearly enough. I
It's
agree.
cruel.
That's
It's
how you feel.
actively
That's how you feel
cruel.
about. That's how I feel about Dune 2 as well.
Completely.
Yeah.
Almost anytime Leia Sadu shows up, I'm like
Yeah.
more.
Without getting too big into the text of Dune Messiah, is she a bigger part of Dune Messiah? Do we know? Is that a thing we can talk about?
Let's not talk about it.
All right. She's a sandworm.
Team members.
Mm,
I think we talked about everything we need to
Yeah.
talk
There was
about.
one I considered. Like, look, the one presence.
Baldwin.
Hunley?
Well, see, a Baldwin type. Like, we have
Yeah.
the
Erica
guys in the
Sloan.
chair. We
Yeah.
have the agents in the field.
they're always a
Erica Sloan is the
problem.
one. Like,
Erica Sloan.
What?
you don't. First of all, don't
Oh
don't
my
don't
God.
want Angela Bassett like
team-
that.
no,
you're, being,
I did
you're
not.
just being disrespectful.
Excuse me. I did not want Angela Bassett. You have way too many trust issues on your team to even consider that.
It's
just
Mission
wanted- He just
Impossible.
wanted another hot woman
That's
on his
why-
roster, and I support
I mean,
that.
yeah,
To be honest, I
you
just
just
want-
want to make the Instagram grid even stronger, and I can't really argue with
I
the
mostly
strategy.
just wanted to say that's the job.
Terrible.
Sorry.
All right. I think those are, I mean, and then the Ethans is just all the other Ethans. Okay, so ranking
Of the films.
of the films.
Yeah.
It varies for me, depending on which rewatch I'll say.
I'm definitively, if we're gonna like tier,
Yeah.
like the way you're describing, Mal, Fallout and OG are the top tier for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
My tier 1 is Fallout and Rogue Nation.
My tier 1 is Ghost Protocol and the first Mission Impossible.
Hmm.
And then it's Rogue Nation. Like, it's really close.
Yeah.
Rogue
Mhm.
Nation should be in the top 2, but I can't. Here's the thing about Ghost Protocol that I just need to explain. Mission Impossible, the first one, huge movie. Huge movie. Mission Impossible 2 happens, nobody likes it.
Nope.
Everyone thinks it's bad. Mission Impossible 3 happens, everyone's like, it's not very good. Like, Mission Impossible 3 has only grown in people's estimation,
Yeah.
mostly because of Philip Seymour Hoffman. And then Ghost Protocol came along,
Mhm.
and everyone's like, oh shit.
That was how I
And-
felt at the time.
And Brad Bird was like, here we go, because it was like 6 years between MI2 and MI3,
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 years between MI3 and Ghost Protocol. And then after that, it's just like, we're cooking. I mean, COVID happened, but like, then Macquarie takes over and that's the Macquarie era. But like, if COVID hadn't happened, we would have had a Mission Impossible among many other benefits
Incredible
to society.
sentence, yeah.
There would have been far more Mission Impossible movies.
Of all the
Oh,
sliding
man.
doors moments that have been discussed on Ringer Pods,
Yeah.
no COVID for more Mission Impossibles is a real doozy.
This is blown away right now.
Who says no?
Um,
I'm solving COVID. I'm curing COVID so we can have more Mission Impossible movies.
My second tier is the first Mission Impossible, which I love and I'm
Mhm.
very fond of, as is probably clear. Ghost Protocol and 3. And my order varies depending on when I rewatch them. This was the one where Ghost Protocol slid down to me, but the third tier is just a distinct thing that Ghost Protocol does not belong in.
I mean, so if I'm Fallout and OG up top,
Yeah.
then Rogue, then Ghost, then Dead Reckoning, I think for me. And then MI3 Final Reckoning, MI2 in the bottom tier.
Wow, you have 3 in the bottom tier. My bottom tier is
The Reckonings.
the Reckonings,
two.
Dead Reckoning, Final Reckoning, and then 2.
Two.
But I
Correct.
actually like, even though I think 2 is clearly like is the worst movie in the franchise, I have much more affection for it than the Reckonings.
Yes.
Much more.
Yeah. And I think over time, that might even change. Because 2 has been at the bottom of the ranking for so long that
Yeah.
we're just like, that's where it
I don't know.
belongs.
There's so much attrition built up of people disliking it. I don't think it's going to move very much.
I don't know. Tell that to Thor the Dark World. You know what I mean? Like these things tend to move around sometimes.
Thor the Dark World still sucks,
Not
guys.
to me, and it never has.
Still extremely bad.
I've been Rubin pilled. Like, I don't
No.
agree, but like, I will tell you, many people.
Oh no!
This is like the years we.
Y'all
the-
got to get off the ether. It's getting
the
bad
years
in
of our
here.
lives we lived through where everyone agreed that the prequels were bad, and then that generation grew up, and now people are like, Revenge of the Sith is the best Star Wars movie, and that's something we have to deal
It's
with.
not the best Star Wars movie, but it is important.
Guys, Obi-Wan is on a lizard for like 40% of that movie.
Very important.
It's the Reckonings at the bottom for me.
I can't
But,
argue
yeah.
it. Yeah, to me, the only thing that's saving Dead Reckoning are some of the stunts. And ultimately, like, I've
It's
much...
the Fiat
yes.
sequence.
The Fiat sequence is
Really good.
wonderful.
Really
Wonderful.
good. Yeah.
And I'm
And of
higher on the
course-
train. We got the motorcycle.
Yeah.
I like Haley Atwell much more in that movie. I like Palm more in that movie, frankly. Like, I think it has more dynamic elements
I just think that
and
like
a little less
the
mess
like
than Dead Reckoning
flashback
does.
to like fridging an unknown brunette woman for Ethan Hunt in a flashback is like
Look,
in the movie where you also fridge Ilsa Faust. Like it's just like you open the fridge door and there's a mini fridge inside of it, and you open the mini fridge and there's one of those little
Yes.
fridges that you keep your cosmetics in, and it's just full of dead brunette women.
Mission Impossible is full of dead brunette women. I will say, in defense of its shaky gender politics at times, most of the men who appear in this series are like total red shirt characters. Like the guy who's in Final Reckoning, I don't even know that guy's name, like that character's name, who's with them until the end. Brandt is another great example. It's like 0 personality male characters other than Luther and Benji. Like those are the only 2 guys who get to do literally
And
anything.
Alec Baldwin.
I guess.
And Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, who we've not mentioned once on this podcast.
For good reason.
I don't like him. Okay.
A lot of zeros.
We did it. What a fun way to look back at the franchise.
What a time we had.
Will we get another Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movie? What
I
do you
think so.
think?
Yes,
When?
absolutely.
I mean, yeah, of course the answer is yes. When?
Okay,
When
here's
will we
my
get it?
favorite. Okay, Rob and I have been exchanging some like Tom Cruise as an alien clips
Sure.
of late.
Yeah.
There's a lot. It's a rich
Yeah.
text.
How many involve him eating popcorn?
Most.
Many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
But my
Yeah.
very favorite was when someone was like, it was Father's Day, and a red carpet reporter was like, what do you like to do on Father's Day? And Tom Cruise, notoriously not close to the children, was like, just making movies, man, just having fun making movies. And it was like, wow, okay. Anyway, yes, he has to make more Mission Impossible movies. He has nothing else except more Top
Yes.
Gun movies.
The
So,
thing I
you
never
know.
I
understand
can't
about
wait for the third Top Gun, man.
I'm excited, and I like that power. I care nothing about the first Top Gun. Maverick, I'm like galvanized. You know, like he has that ability to make you really, really care about something with spectacle, with his like pure charisma. What I don't understand is all the people who talk to him and talk about like this magical effect he has on you, where he zeroes in and you're the most important person in the room. And yet every time you hear him speak, it's like the man has not said one specific thing in his entire life. It is
Yeah.
all, I love the movies. What movies? I just love them.
I feel like it's like pheromones.
You think so?
Yeah, like if you're in a room with him, it's pheromone based. Have you had the Tom Cruise cake?
How would I have had the Tom Cruise?
Just
cake?
You
Heard
can
a-
order it.
Heard a million
had it.
stories about it.
What's your review?
It's bad.
It's what?
I think everyone who says it's great has been huffing the Tom Cruise pheromones. It's
Huffing
so
Rhino?
sickly sweet.
Mm.
It's heavily white chocolate based.
It's a
Oh.
coconut cake.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
cake.
there's coconut and white chocolate chunks
That sounds
in like a
great.
very
mean-
in a
Sounds
white
delicious.
chocolate frosting and a bunt situation.
Mm.
It is bad.
I've never had a bad donut. I've never had a bad coconut
Okay,
cake.
I also don't like
agree.
donuts. I also don't like donuts.
I
All right,
agree.
so listen. This has been the Mission Impossible draft, where all of my opinions are correct. Gingers, I'm counting on you. I would like to thank Rob Mahoney
Thank y'all.
for showing up here today.
This was so much fun.
You're the
A
best.
blast.
Mallory Rubin. I love Mallory Rubin. Thank you for being here.
This is my pleasure. Can't wait to get a coffee.
Thank you to the entire IMF team who is here with us today. We've got John Richter, Carlos Chiriboga, Chris Thomas, Jomi Adeniran on social, and Arjuna Ramgopal for holding the whole team together.
Woo!
He is our Ethan Hunt. We value him always. And we'll be back next week for our summer hype meter.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you then. Bye.